Amigos listos para la pasión, con el grito de gol en el corazón de la cancha.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Liga MX Football Podcast. Again, we're sticking with this intro. Got a lot of good feedback from the last episode that you guys liked it, so we're sticking to it. We have a lot of drama surrounding Hormiga Gonzalez. The rumors about him going to Europe have been picking up steam, and we can confirm that Olympiacos has sent Chivas a couple offers. They've been rejected. They're trying to finalize the price is right on Hormiga Gonzalez, which I have a lot to talk about, my own personal opinions. So we'll be talking about that. We did have the final Leagues Cup group stage match between our last episode, and in the end, some teams got left out that were surprising because they actually had gone off to a great start. And, because of Leagues Cup, we actually had some games yesterday in Liga MX. I am actually open to the idea of having a Monday night football game, kind of like they do in football. We usually have Friday night soccer and then Saturday and Sunday, but having some action yesterday, I almost forgot about it, was actually pretty cool. But we're going to kick this off with the hot topic of tonight, and then I'll also be bringing in my co-host as we go along. If you guys are new to Cantina MX and Spaces, feel free to request to speak. We will patch you in later on in the episode. But really just want to talk about Hormiga Gonzalez. The rumors over the weekend were pretty strong with Olympiacos interested in his services, and it looks like they were negotiating with Chivas back and forth. Hormiga was not utilized in that match against what team did we play over the weekend? Sorry, man, my mind is he was not utilized, and I did see him warming up, but in the end, I think they just wanted to have other strikers available while this is still being negotiated. They played Santos, so he was not used. And Santos, or coming into that game, were in last place, have yet to win a game. And kind of as I expected, Chivas really struggling to get goals. And it took a PK, which a lot of people would say it was not a PK. In the end, Ricardo Marin scored it. And with that, it was an ugly win, but a necessary win for Chivas that are playing good ball, dominating the game, holding possession, just having trouble on that final third. And, when you're having trouble scoring, the last thing on my mind is to get rid of Hormiga Gonzalez, who, if you guys have forgotten, he scored 12 pepinos last season, was fighting tooth and nail with Joao Pedro for the leader, for the goal scorer of the league. But in the end, just a 1-0 against Santos, and Hormiga looks like it's all but over for him. He's going to be going to the Greek League. And with that, I'm going to bring in Joel to our show. Welcome, Joel. How are we doing?
Doing good, Jaime. Hate to see Hormiga leave, but that's what he wanted. You know what? I don't think he wanted to leave. I'm just going to go out and say it. I don't think he wanted to leave, but I think he was pushed into it from his agents, because it wasn't like he had a great World Cup and he's on fire and Olympiacos decided to bring him in. It's been the opposite. He had a pretty lackluster World Cup, got very few minutes, and hasn't been able to score in I don't know how many matches now. But I think he has good agents, and they felt now was the time, and they did another deal. Well, Olympiacos did another deal because they sold a Brazilian to the MLS for 18 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that basically pays for the rumored 10 million Hormiga cost, which is I'm gonna say it's a fair amount. We tend to hear complaints that Mexicans are overpriced. And I don't think 10 million, especially in when we see the value of a lot of players, it's not a lot of money compared to like, well, basically at this point his potential, of what he could mean, because he could be like of one of the main strikers going into the next World Cup for Mexico.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, I don't like this move one bit. And, I think moving to the Greek league at best is a lateral move. The only way I could see this being attractive is if Olympiacos had qualified for Champions League, but I know that's not the case. I know a lot of times that will attract and lure players to consider a team that is, not considered like in a prestigious league that is the Greek league. We have had Mexicans over there. Obviously, when Matias Almeida was coaching, he was able to lure away Rodolfo Pizarro and Orbelin Pineda. Obviously, Pulido played for Olympiacos at one point, but his situation with Tigres was he didn't leave on the best terms, and they almost were like penalized for fielding him. So he didn't have the best move to Greece. Now, the one thing about this ownership is coincidentally, he also owns Nottingham Forest over there in the EPL. So that could be also another factor for Hormiga. It's like, yeah, I do well in the Greek league, and then all of a sudden, I have a chance of moving to the Premier League. So I could see them pitching that idea, but to me, I've never, like, in my career, when they promise you something, it's like, I don't like being held to like future promises. If you really are as good as they think you are, then you would have gotten that move directly to the EPL. So I don't know. There's just something about this move that I don't really like. And another thing that I don't like about this move is, let's be honest, Hormiga Gonzalez hasn't done anything for Chivas yet. Obviously, he scored 12 goals last season, but we weren't able to utilize him in the most important part, which was Liguilla. And I just, the way we saw Chicharito leave without winning any silverware, I would hate for us to make the same mistake of like allowing Hormiga to leave now that we have such a great team without really contributing to a league title at least.
Well, he's official now, isn't it?
It's not official.
Oh, okay.
No,
it's not official.
The things that have been circulating on Twitter, it was a fake things. Somebody on Instagram, oh, he posted this on Instagram. No, it's fake. It's all fake. This move has not been confirmed yet.
I was going off of because I saw a clip. I think it was Fútbol Picante, and it was that guy, Chicharito's friend, the guy that tried to do NFL. And he was saying how it was a bad move. So I was watching that clip. I was like, it must be a done deal then. But I guess not. If Hormiga wants to leave, good for him. But if, like, for me, a Chihuahua fan, I would prefer he stays. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. For me, I think we all expected him to get a little bit more minutes in the World Cup. In the end, he barely got any just in that first game. After that, he was not utilized by Javier Aguirre, and I think that dramatically affected his stock price. That and like the fact that he had he hasn't scored a goal in quite some time has not helped his cause. So what we expected to have some lucrative offers in the summertime, now it's all just grease. And I don't know why Chivas would be so quick to get rid of Hormiga. To me, it's like, hey, let him finish this season out. And in the wintertime, if he's, finds his form and we end up winning a championship, then wintertime. I don't think that him missing out on a European offer this window is not going to diminish his chances of a future opportunity if he, gets back on the horse and starts scoring again. So I don't know why there's this urgency to accept the only offer that's come his way. I think he's still young. He's 23 years old. There's still plenty of football for him to get into and to develop as a Chivas player. I don't understand why we're salivating at the first offer. Like, we got to act like we've been here before, and Chivas have dealt with some big clubs in the past. Chivas have sold, Chicharito directly to Manchester United. They sold Ulises Davila directly to Chelsea. It's not like we haven't had good business deals in the past. For me, I would say hold out and wait for something better to come up. But maybe, Chivas did spend a lot of money this summer. So I don't know if, Amaury Vergara has, there's his pockets are on fire and he's trying to recoup some of that money.
I don't think Chivas has had like good deals selling players though. Pizarro's probably the highest.
Not good deals, but that we've worked with like big clubs before.
Yeah, but I mean they bought Chicharito went for like $5 million, which was peanuts. It was literally peanuts what he got sold for. And had Vergara waited, he could have, after the World Cup, he would have been worth at least 3 times as more. And Chicharo was way beyond, way above what Hormiga is. He was also scoring in Libertadores. He was scoring pretty much against any team that was put in front of him. He scored against France. He was just scoring against any top team. He was pretty, for a while there, he was pretty unstoppable. But yeah, Chivas, negotiations-wise, I don't think they've had a good, that I could think of, like they sold a player and they made a pretty penny. I don't even think when like Salcido and Massa left, that they left for good amounts. And then most of the players have gone pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So I think,
I don't know if this has any effect or influence, but Armando Gonzalez is represented by Rock Nation, which is, Jay-Z's affiliation. So I don't know if that has something to do with him going for a move now, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, like
I think I'm there, Jaime.
Yeah, a really good agent will get you some places.
Yeah, well, that's my take that they're pushing for this. They were probably hoping for a better World Cup, and they probably saw this opening at Olympiacos, and because I don't know, I have a hard time thinking Olympiacos would go after Hormiga, just because they would, safer bet would be like another European or someone with a passport, and Hormiga's, for what he cost for a team like Olympiacos, it's a gamble for them. But sometimes that's why you have these type of negotiations between the club and promoters where the coach is not part of it. And that's how sometimes you end up being in the wrong club and now the manager time.
We'll have to see how this story develops. Again, not happy with losing Hormiga at this time. We're struggling to score goals, and the last thing we need to do is get rid of a striker in this time of need. I don't know if Milito's going to have to change his strategy and maybe get goals from other places, maybe from some wingers or some attacking midfielders. One thing that was really unfortunate that happened in the final Leagues Cup fixtures was against Seattle. Chivas lost Cotoro, and he is injured. And because of that injury, it allowed Hugo Camberos to come in as a substitution, an immediate substitution to replace him. And since that injury, he has started under Milito. So unfortunate that it took a severe injury for Camberos to get some minutes. And he's also playing not in his natural position, but we have Hugo Camberos stepping up to the plate. He looked good against Seattle. Against Santos, he was not good in his finishing and his decision making, but he still was one of the most active players on the pitch. And he's a player that I've been asking for like almost every episode. Like Camberos needs to get a look. Well, now it's his his world for the taking. And if we end up losing Hormiga to the Greek league, there is an opportunity for some of these younger guys that have been waiting to get their opportunity to step up and carry that torch.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be too worried if they lost him. I know Chivas' chances are better with him. He just needs to get out of his funk. Right now, he lost his mojo. And he just needs to. And who knows if this could be part of it? Uh, this like if there's this pressure for him to leave, and that's one thing Milito mentioned in the press conference as to why he didn't play him. He said his head wasn't in the match.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like when you are pending a transfer, I think it's kind of hard to focus on your game, and also like the risk of something going bad, getting injured like Cotoro. So you would hate for you've been working so hard to get a chance to go to Europe, and then you get into a game, your head's not in it, you get injured, and then all of a sudden the deal falls through. So not taking any chances, Milito, and decided not to use him.
And that was part of it where I thought that it was a done deal because he didn't play, and that's you don't want the dude to get injured, and then the whole negotiation comes tumbling down. So I guess we're both in agreement here, Jaime. We would rather keep the Ant-Man one more season in Liga MX.
Yeah, absolutely. He's still young, and he barely just got onto this. I would say last season was his first breakout season. We're all so quick to sell our talent without even winning anything in return. And we've been in this trophyless. It's been 9 years since we won the league. So for us to finally have a competitive squad in the league, and then to us just like sell our talent is just so frustrating. Like, I don't understand why we need to do this at this moment. Give it another season. He's gonna have other offers.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like his stock will go down. Like, if anything, it'll go up if he starts scoring again.
Yeah, well, it's not that Chivas trying to sell him. It's mainly his agents, his representatives trying to get him to leave. And I guess they feel that would improve his stock, but you could have the opposite. It could be like Linus, and you went from one of the hot players to someone that's in Europe trying to make it, and then he ended up not even making the World Cup. Yeah, he came back to Mexico, had a pretty good season, but still not good enough. Where at one point we thought he was gonna be one of the top Mexican players. And that could happen. These Euro teams, especially if you don't have a passport, they could be pretty relentless, man. They can be pretty not really unforgiving. That's how you see all these players and I guess that's part of it. Like if it's his agents or where they feel they could easily sell him back to Liga MX and recoup that money. Like for that club, that Olympiacos can sell him, they could just sell him back. Because that's kind of what happened with Pulido, right? He left, and then they got him for free, but Chivas paid about 10 million, and that was. Oof, how long ago was that, Jaime? 10 years?
It's been a while.
Shit. It's crazy. Like 10 years, but Chivas paid double for that because they had to also pay Tigres money.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, Pulido, when he went, in 2 years, he played about 14 games. He didn't really play much.
Yeah. If there's one thing that every Mexican player right now needs to do is grab the phone number or business card of Chucky Lozano's agent. Man, wow, wow, how he was able to come up and basically screw San Diego FC over. For those that don't know, Chucky Lozano was not in the plans of San Diego FC from all the way back from last season. Towards the end of the season, the coach went on record and said, yeah, he's not in our plans. He's had to train separately from the rest of the team. He's not been utilized. And, in anticipation of the World Cup, Javier Aguirre actually went to go talk to him, and Chucky Lozano said, hey, man, for personal reasons, I'm going to write out this contract instead of trying to find a way out. And Javier Aguirre said, hey, man, I understand. Go get your bag. It sucks that we're not going to be able to utilize you for the World Cup, but you do you, boo-boo. And what ended up happening is LA Galaxy, who admitted they had tried to get Chucky Lozano a long time ago, were able to negotiate a deal where he's going out on loan. So he's no longer part of San Diego. He's now in LA Galaxy, where he's wanted, where he's going to be utilized. And he also will still get paid out his full salary. And there's also a clause that, he has an option to, stay at Galaxy if they want to purchase him. So in the end, Chucky Lozano ends up winning, bro. He ends up getting his full contract and he's now playing for a team that wants him, dude.
Jaime, isn't he getting more money though?
He's getting
from
more
the loan
money
deal?
because part of his contract with San Diego is like a loyalty fee where like if you loan me out to another team or something, like you still have to pay me more. I don't know. There's something that they negotiated in his contract. And this bro, he came up winning, bro.
He did, man. He got 2 bags. He hit the daily double, man. That was crazy. It cost him a World Cup. But
it cost them a World Cup. But yeah, if you are, I think you look at Eric Lira, whoever his agent is, he needs to fire his ass and go get on the phone with Chucky Lozano. Because goddamn, bro, that's how you negotiate and fight for your players.
Yeah, I mean, Chucky could have gone to the World Cup and then probably just been like Mateo Chavez and had one match. So I could see why it would have been difficult, but I would have done the same. We're like, that's just a lot of money, man. And his thing was that at that point, he would have had to settle for less at that point. So the fact that he held out and he was with this "fuck you, pay me" attitude.
Yeah, contract's a contract,
Yeah.
And what a head scratcher it is for like the San Diego front office. Like they are just they're the ones coming out as big losers in this one. Like how do you allow that to happen? I know I understand like wanting to back your coach and having that sort of like loyalty and like no player is above the club. But in this situation, man, you have to say, hey, like, why do you want to get rid of him? Like, what actually happened? It had to be more than just like he's tough to get along with or he's got attitude issues. Like, no, bro, like they spent a lot of money to get this guy. I think they're gonna owe him like $30 million when this is all said and done, probably more. It's like at that point, bro, it's like we spent like too much on this guy. You're gonna have to figure out how to deal with him. And if at that point, if the coach is still like knucklehead and not willing to like incorporate him into the team, then you get rid of the coach, bro, and you hire somebody else because that's a very expensive mistake. And now you're allowing him to join a rival team in your own division. Oh my god, dude, they're idiots for that one.
It's gonna make for a good matchup when those teams meet.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how he bounces back. If he gets back in form, unfortunately, I could see him returning to the national team, but maybe Rafa Marquez is like past all that bullshit. We'll see.
Well, how old is he?
I think he just turned like 30 or 31.
Let me see. Let me ask the internet.
He's 31.
He's 31.
Yeah, he just turned 31.
You're right. He turned 31 July 30. I doubt it, dude, because you got to see it in the long term. And the next World Cup is, 4 years away? He's going to be 35. I mean, I guess you could use him for Moleros because he's like but he would have to be like on fire, like very similar to dude, I'm forgetting his name. He went back to Wolves, to Raul. So you have to be very similar to Jimenez, where you're just but Jimenez for a long time has been just like a staple with the national team. Even when he wasn't scoring, just his attitude, his perseverance, that type of, mentality that coaches want, and I think that was part of it. Players like him and Quiñones that helped this national team overcome adversity this past one. And for Chuck, he's a bit of the opposite. He's more of the wild card. You know which Chucky you're gonna get, dude. It's like the Simpsons. Remember when they have that the evil Krusty doll, and then you just flip the switch. It's kind of that was like Galaxy. They got Chucky and they just put the switch up. He's like, oh, there was a problem. He was on evil mode. But I find it difficult, man. I don't know if we'll have Chucky for national team unless he's killing it with the Galaxy. That's why Hormiga is important here, because he's kind of like one of the few. There's not a lot of Mexican strikers right now. You know, it's basically they're all retiring. Henry is out. Chucky's 31. Jimenez is what, like 34? How old is he?
Raul's he's like 35, going on 36.
Yeah, so and he might still play a few games, you know, just because he's like World Cup hero. So
he wants to beat Chicharo's record. That's what he wants to do.
No, but also you know, like he's World Cup hero, so that's a big selling point. And I would say they might want to give him a proper send out, maybe at like a Copa America or something, you know, let him retire. So yeah, but when we look at which strikers do we have right now, and it's not that many, and that's why Hormiga is crucial here, man. You need the Mexican needs these young players that are on fire, and we're just gonna be I would say we, but you know, SMB's gonna be hoping to stay on the veteranos, like you know, hoping that they can squeeze more juice out of them.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I have a feeling that it's only a matter of time till this deal goes through. I think the release clause for Hormiga was 15 million, and they're gonna get close to that with a future buyout clause. You know, I think they're gonna sell him like 70 or 80% of his title, and then retain some of that for a future transfer. So we'll see. And if Hormiga ends up leaving to Greece, like, I wish him all the best. It's going to be a tough team to break into. From my understanding, they already have a pretty strong striker squad. So it's not like he's going to go in there and automatically be starting. So we'll see. We'll be monitoring that very, very closely. Aside from other transfers, it looks like Santi Jimenez is on the way to Porto. It's not confirmed yet. It looks like Milan rejected some of the first offers, but that is the closest we're hearing of Santi's departure from AC Milan. It's quite obvious that he's not in their plans. So it's very vital for him to...
Bleak outlook, Jaime.
What's that?
Because that's the other strike. Well, we're talking about the national team needing strikers. And I would say these are like in the top 5 of the younger guys. You could put Hormiga and Santi there, and it's you know, cartucho quemado, like, you know, the powder's wet, man.
Yeah. I mean, we have Quiñones, who was the surprising hero in our World Cup, you know, led the team in goals, and you know, he's got plenty of more goals.
But you need more than one.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely need
you
some
need
more.
At least you know, to be at that, like, if you want to look at Mexico and have these expectations, because I know, knowing Mexico fans, their expectations are going to be through the roof, because they're going to equate everything to the World Cup. It's going to be a huge mistake. But you know, they're going to expect the Gold Cup should be won with their eyes closed and one hand tied behind their back, you know, and that's not how it works. And so I think, but to have this team and expect it to continue being dominant in the region, because they've been very dominant in the region. Uh, then you need to have, you know, the strikers right there. That's what wins the games, the goals, and that's that's gonna be another issue, you know. I guess for Marquez to figure out heading into his cycle, you know, which is when it starts next month.
Yeah, he's gonna have
Starts next month against Colombia or something.
his first game, I believe, is against USA. I could be wrong, but yeah, he is gonna have some friendlies in September.
What a bad match to have, man. You don't want that match, Jaime. Dude, you do not want that match. That's like, just no, man. That's like a bad rival to have, you know, because they just go harder in a friendly. They go harder than Mexico, man. A lot of Mexican players, for whatever reason, they just don't. A lot of times, they just don't rate the U.S. You know, and you're not, if you don't get in their heads, it could be it bites them in the ass. And I don't know if you saw, I posted a clip with Jeff Agus talking about the 2002 match. I don't know if you saw the clip.
I didn't get to see it.
And he's talking about the world.
What do you say?
He was talking about the 2002 World Cup and how, and he said just that, what I said, you know, that they knew that the Mexican team wasn't taking them that serious. And he said that the day of the match, they went like an hour, almost 2 hours early to the stadium. When they get to the pitch, the Mexican team was already there. And he said they were just like joking around. And he like, he knew right there. He's like, oh, we got them, you know. They're you know, he didn't see them as being focused.
They're not
like,
serious, yeah.
Or like taking the match more serious. And then he talked about how they go, once they went up to 0, it was like, you know, they were lost. And I've seen it a lot, you know. I've seen it a lot through the years. And the friendly games is where Mex has lost their edge against the US. Because what usually happens is, well, they used to happen before where they would hold camp for February, you know, early in the year. They will hold like a month-long camp, and then they will play Mexico. And so you had the U.S. training for a whole month, and then Mexico training two days maybe before the match. And half of these guys shopping as soon as they landed in the U.S. So, and then they would beat Mex in the friendlies, and they'll be like, it's a friendly, who cares? But then when they would play in tournaments, which happened in the Copa America in 95 and then 2002, then there they are kicking Mexico's ass, you know. And so I've never been for this friendly match, just because it's like, if Mex wins, they were expected to win. If they lose, it's a shitstorm, because there's no business losing to them. So it's just like, it's an uncomfortable match, man. I would not have taken it this early on in the cycle, man. I would have been like, no, scratch that. Give me Nicaragua or something. Just just something for the fans, you know, just to placate them. Because the rival doesn't matter as much a lot of times. You're just building the group and making sure they're understanding your tactics. Playing a hard team or difficult team, or, you know, the Brazils is not really going to help you in the long run when you're starting, you know, when you're getting started. It's more of like for the coach to see what, you know, if they're going to, if the players, his tactics and whatnot are going to gel. So, yeah, you could have these moleros. They're still useful. It's not like a video game because you play Brazil and then your power goes up 5 points or whatever.
Yeah.
Joey, so are you afraid of the media circus?
Yeah. Just the negativity and how it will be used against Marquez. We already saw the whole he treated this reporter wrong, and then they lose to the U.S. and that reporter and his friends are gonna now use this as more fodder to try to get him fired because it's pretty sure thing. There's a section of Mexican football that already wants him out because everybody wants their boy in the hot seat. So there's a section there that's gonna wanna. There's just waiting for him to fail.
Yeah, maybe, but Rafa is an institution, and honestly, this is why
No,
I
he's
think
not,
that
bro.
you don't think he
He's
is.
an institution.
Yes,
No, not in
he's
Mexican soccer.
revered as like
He
one of,
wasn't even in Mexico. His whole career was basically in Europe.
and we know that
who's gonna
Mexicans
back
hold
him
Europe
up?
in a very high regard.
Mexican fans, not Mexico, owners and club owners and stuff like that. I mean, don't confuse the both, man.
No, of
Club
course,
owners give a shit.
but the media, or sorry, the fan base, Mexico's fan base also has a lot of say in who, because a lot of the times, for example, look at Diego Coca, the product on the field was horrible, and so the fans, they turned on him.
Well, that shit was
They
dead on
turned-
arrival, dude. Nobody wanted
Oh
Coca.
no,
of
bro.
course.
I didn't think it was horrible. And who was it? Who did he lose to where they made a big deal? He lost to the U.S.
U.S. Yeah.
He loses to the U.S. and they use that to get rid of him. But the way he was like building the team, it was going to be pretty similar to what Aguirre did. It was the same idea, the same plan. And he said in one of the podcasts he was in about a year later after they interviewed him, and he said how the players were hating that he was doing all this extra training and whatnot, and he was talking about the pressing and all that, and it was very similar, and that he was going to be dependent on Quiñones as well. That was like a given, man. That was like Mexico. They needed that guy to be on point.
And he was not on any. I mean, Quiñones was not on anyone's radar, at that time. Let me just go over the calendar.
Well, for Coca, because Coca was with Atlas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the official calendar, you're right. It's going to be 26th of September against Colombia. That's going to be Rafa Marquez's debut. Then he's going to play Peru shortly after. And then he's got USA on October 3rd and Chile on October 6th. Those games will be held, so Baltimore, New Jersey, Arizona, and then Los Angeles. So those will be happening in the fall time. And yeah, those are not easy games. Colombia, especially, they had a respectable World Cup and they're a worthy opponent. Peru might be a little bit easier. And then you jump right back in with USA. So this Rafa Marquez project will be tested really, really, really early in his cycle.
What do you guys want to see from these games? Do you guys want to see a lot of new blood and see, what kind of new players he can integrate? Or do you guys want to see, basically 90% of what we saw at the World Cup?
He already said he's keeping the team. He's not going to do much changes from the World Cup team.
Yeah, from early reports, that was what was said, that he's planning on basically keeping the same team that was, featured in the World Cup. For me, I think it'd be a good time to, experiment with new blood and obviously Ochoa, he's already done, he's retired. But there's still some outliers out there. You still have Raul Jimenez, who's older. You have Gallardo, who's older. And, Mateo Chavez has already hit the ground running over there in Holland. So I would be hoping for a team that's younger and in form versus like some of these aging stars on our national team.
Yeah, I don't put much expectations on friendlies. To me, those are for the coach to experiment with players and tactics. And then when I would judge him is once he gets to play at a tournament. Because then that's kind of you experiment, you practice in these games, these moleros, but then once you get to the tournament, that's where you put in practice everything you've been working for. That's where you kind of see the results, and then you could, even if they don't win the tournament, you kind of get a good idea of where this team is headed, because they could have looked good, played good, and then just lost because that's just football. The other team just scored they just scored on their chance. But you start seeing results. You start seeing which players are looking good, or that the team's generating or whatnot. But I think the Mexican media is very, demanding, and they want the 3 Gs: gustar, golear, y ganar. And if you're not providing those, then you suck. And unfortunately, that fans buy into that, and that's why how we end up with 3-4 coaches in one World Cup cycle.
One thing to answer your question, Hat-Trick, and welcome to the show. Rafa Marquez was spotted in that U20 championship run for Mexico. So I would love to see him incorporate Cambero, Santiago Sandoval, and some of these other guys that were really standout performers in that CONCACAF tournament. We'll see.
All right, I was just wondering because I just off the top of my head, there's probably like 3-4 players that I expect not to be in the next phase, or I guess right now. For example, Memote, obviously Ochoa's done.
Oh God.
I could see Gallardo still being in it.
Memote, dude. I'm trying to delete that from my brain.
I could see Gallardo still being a part, but honestly, I think it should be Mateo Chavez and Cotorro, duking it out. Which, by the way, how long is Cotorro out? Because I missed the news. I didn't know how bad the injury was.
I don't know, man. It looks pretty serious. I don't think he's going to be playing anytime soon.
Damn, that's unfortunate. But yeah, I still think I think part of the reason why Raúl Jiménez is going to get that chance to be the number one on the all-time scoring list is just because, I mean, for one, we don't really have a reliable striker outside of him, and for two, I do think that Rafa is going to want to start with this, he's going to want to start on a positive note, and I think he's just going to give him, the best chance at winning right now. And yeah, unless one of the other strikers step up, then I could see maybe, them having his little farewell tour beforehand, but I think he's going to be, I could see him playing for the next 2 years.
He just wants to beat Javier's record. I already know.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the national team wants him to beat it. I think in the offices, the players, I think they like and respect Raúl more.
Yeah, unfortunately, Javier has diarrhea of the mouth. He really needs to just turn off his personal social. He was really good in the World Cup as a pundit, and I wish he would have stuck to that, but he still wants to play semi-professionally over there in, where is it, in Dallas? So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Second, third division?
USL, it's technically second division.
Damn.
But they don't have promotion relegation in MLS, so, yeah. And that's been a topic, same thing in Liga MX. A lot of teams have, been very defiant in their lineups, holding out signs and wanting this to end, this protected league. But I don't really see that changing anytime soon, allowing teams to get promoted or relegated.
Yeah, it's not going yet. That's not going anywhere because, and we already saw what FMF did, where they put these conditions of what you need to be promoted, and I know they haven't kept to it, or they give Cruz Azul a pass, having your stadium, but they put these very similar to, because Bundesliga has something similar where in order to be in the first division, your team needs to meet all these standards, and if they do that, you pretty much leave 95% of those teams out of the picture. It's like, and I think, and those teams know that. It's just that extra money they get, where it's like, okay, we got promoted. You sell the franchise to the team that got relegated, so they could remain in first. and at least we got like a bonus. And I think that's mainly what they want. Let's see if they could get some sort of kickback.
Well, I've been patiently waiting for our number one Cruz Azul fan to show up because they were eliminated from League's Cup. All this mame on the last episode, que Cruz Azul, que Cruz Azul, que Cruz Azul, and they ended up losing their final match against Chicago Fire. It was a 1-1 game until the last minute. Chicago decided to put away that goal, and Cruz Azul fell short. They finished in 5th, and that allowed Monterrey to squeeze in. So in the end, León, América, Toluca, and Rayados will be going on to the next round in the League's Cup. And Cruz Azul are eliminated despite winning their first 2 matches. Welcome to the show, Abdias.
Buenas, putos. Pues mira, ni te voy a preguntar cómo andas, güey, porque veo que andas medio picosito.
Monday I was. Yeah, you guys also like lost over the weekend. No, you guys had a
¿Contra Cholos?
Contra
No mames,
Xolos.
güey. Contra Cholos, en el Estadio Caliente. No mames, güey.
To the hands of Gilberto Mura.
You know what? ¿Sabes qué, güey? Ni te voy a hacer, like, tanto pinche pedo. Porque, ¿sabes qué? Si miras el segundo gol de Gil, lo que pasa es que el pinche defensor es backtracking and you see his foot slide on the turf. You see all of that black, like, dust and dirt that they have just fucking fly up. Y luego el pendejo se cae en las nalgas. Entonces...
Who was that? Was that Chiquete?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Bro, it was Mora's aura, bro.
Pero, no, hombre, güey, no mames. Mira, primero, antes que nada, güey, lo de League's Cup. Sí, güey, íbamos con madre, pero ¿sabes qué fue lo que pasó? Neta, al 100%, y si ves el partido, ¿sabes qué pedo? Wiki, pues ni quiero decir tanto Wiki, güey. Los jugadores se apendejaron, porque al minuto 93, ya con el empate, con el 1-1, los pendejos decidieron presionar alto y presionar a Chicago en su área. Y ahí mero fue donde la cagaron. Hasta eso. Porque todos sabíamos que con un empate todos ganábamos. Pero no. ¿Qué pasó? Se apendejaron, trataron eso, les ganaron un balón dividido. O ni eso, güey. Perdieron posesión, un trazo largo. Y luego, lo más importante, la manera de que rebota ese pinche balón, güey. ¿A quién fue? I can't remember exactly who it was, pero hay un pinche bote, güey, like right by the sideline, that if you look at it closely, you can see that it hits a Cruz Azul player's hand. And then it does a weird bounce, which gives Chicago the opportunity to catch up to the ball, put in that cross, and get it in. All right? Fue algo de que si vamos con el libreto en la mano, no debería haber pasado, ¿verdad? Los árbitros deberían de haber llamado una handball y ahí se hubiera chingado. Pero ¿sabes qué, güey? No hay pedo. Como le dijo Wiki Berhalter, que le dijo, güey, ¿qué chingas pasó? Creí que habíamos hecho un trato. ¿Qué pasó con el pacto de caballeros? Le dice Berhalter, pues ustedes de pendejos que me vinieron a presionar. Al último quedamos que 1-1 y todos ganan. Pero bueno, se chingó. League's Cup, no hay pedo. Como dije antes, no son sour grapes. No es de que, no, esta madre no importa, que quién sabe qué. No voy a ningunear el torneo, pero lo que sí voy a decir es que, güey, somos campeones. Ya estamos en la próxima Copa Mundial de Clubes. Ya estamos en la próxima Conca. Entonces, para nosotros, me da igual. Ahora, ustedes de que no tienen chance de entrar a la Copa Mundial de Clubes, ese es otro pedo, ¿verdad? Preocúpense por eso, preocúpense por lo de ustedes. Cruz Azul, no hay pedo, güey. El equipo funcionó bien, jaló bien, con madre. Pero luego tenemos que reconocer también, güey, que Cruz Azul tuvo que andar viajando por todos lados de los putos de Estados Unidos para disputar estos partidos. Luego, a vez de regresar a casa, se fue directamente a Tijuana para hacer una concentración ahí para el partido. Lo más importante, que mandó jugadores para atrás al DF por lesiones, por cansancio y todo eso. Entonces, desde el viernes que vi que Cruz Azul estaba mandando jugadores para atrás al DF, que no iba con equipo completo y todas esas mamadas, dije, no, güey. Contra Cholos en Cholos, con toda esta madre, Cruz Azul va a perder. Vamos a ser honestos, todos sabemos lo que es el estadio caliente y lo imponente que es el estadio caliente. All right. Y si no lo puedes reconocer es porque eres un pendejo y porque, como lo hemos dicho por años, el estadio caliente es diferente por el pasto sintético. La pelota rueda diferente, bota diferente, el juego es más rápido. Y si no estás acostumbrado a jugar en ello, entrenar en él y hacer todo eso, güey, te cogen. No importa qué tan de la verga esté jugando Tijuana, los Cholos, cuando entras a ese estadio, te parten la madre. Let's not forget, what was it, like 2 tournaments ago? Tijuana was on a fucking tear. Tijuana was holding their home, one of those best things, made it into the play-in, did all that stuff. But as soon as they had to leave el estadio caliente, valieron madre. Entonces sí, güey, perdió Cruz Azul. ¿Y qué, güey? No es tan gacho como ver que tu equipo no puede meter un puto gol en jugada abierta. Que te tiene que salvar un pinche penal. Y hasta eso, güey. De que juegas de la verga. Por lo menos Cruz Azul estaba jugando bien y se ve bien. Entonces a mí, güey, no me preocupa. ¿Por qué? Porque yo sé que Cruz Azul sí va a estar en la liguilla. Ahora,
Yeah. Well, you guys are in
ciertos
10th
otros
place right now.
equipos,
You guys are behind
10th
us.
place,
Yeah, you guys are in 10th. We're in 9th, bro.
¿sabes qué, güey? I'm going to have to look at the table right now, but I believe we're talking about 8 and 9. All right, que tampoco que no se nos infle, que no se te olvide, cabrón. Es un punto.
Now,
All
fuck
right?
that. Abdias, como tú dices, no mames, güey. What the fuck is this? All these excuses, bro. Nobody wants to hear that shit.
Who said excuses? I'm just telling you the truth. A mí, güey, no me cala. A mí no me duele. ¿Qué, güey? ¿Crees que esto me va a doler? Güey, yo vi a Cruz Azul solamente ganar 2 putos partidos en un torneo. Yo he visto a Cruz Azul perder 7-0 múltiples veces. ¿Crees que un partidito contra Cholos me va a doler, güey? No mames.
Nah, it's not about that. But you guys didn't play in any turf games in the Leagues Cup?
Nope. Only turf game that we played in the Leagues Cup was Seattle last year.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right. You
yeah,
lucky.
no. Cruz
You
Azul.
lucky.
No. I'm not lucky. I'm very honest, and I know exactly the way Cruz Azul plays. Cruz Azul on turf is fucking hot ass. Like just point blank. Cruz Azul on turf is hot ass. If anything, ¿sabes qué, güey? I'll do it in a bit. Ahorita lo checo. But if you look at Cholos' home record, you're going to start to see the numbers and how it is that it shakes out.
Well, look, we are going to face them on Saturday, albeit it will be in La Cron, not on the turf fields in Tijuana. But nonetheless, yeah, we'll talk when we beat them on Saturday, and then you'll have no excuses. But no, just giving you a little bit of shit, you know. I understand it's early in the season, and you guys are riding high from your championship. You got Campeonitis. But yeah, you guys aren't doing as well as you made it seem on the last episode. That's all.
Son 2 partidos, güey. Son 2 partidos.
But you know how it is. Mexican drama, Mexican novelas, we're just dramatic over everything, dude.
Oh, bro, Mexican novelas, I can tell you all about it. Marimar was my girl. Pero ¿sabes qué, güey? Yo prefiero amigas y rivales. ¿Verdad? Porque, pues, the intros, the commercial breaks, todo eso, no, güey. Los tacos de ojo estaban buenos, pero todavía mejor, güey. You want to talk about Mexican novelas? You want to talk about desmadre, about everything surrounding Mexican football? Güey, la Liga MX femenil. Hoy nos ha dado de comer y más gente ha hablado de la Liga femenil que nunca. Todos gracias a conversaciones del mal.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with that, but I saw it blow up on Twitter. There was like a podcast that, I don't know, was just very like, rude or just impolite and cracked some jokes about the Cruz Azul Femenil. And now they've had backlash over that. I mean, I really don't keep up with this stuff.
Nah, bro, it was very misogynistic. Like it was kind of bad.
Oh yeah?
No mames. ¿Cuál was kind of bad? ¿Qué dijo? ¿Qué dijo que era malo?
That they should go to OnlyFans or something like that.
Yeah, he basically said that. Well, part of what was said was that they should stop being footballers and do OnlyFans, and they'll make more money that way.
Ah, damn.
Well, it's, but I mean that's they say worse about the men's team, you know.
I agree. I think it's look. I'll give my opinion really quick on it. Which it was. I listened to it. It was very misogynistic. It was cringy in that way. Obviously, as fans, we see a lot of shit said. I mean, welcome to sports, right? It's one of those things where we see, people say, "Oh, I hope this athlete dies. I hope their next born child has certain birth defect." We see the craziest shit, and it's not justified. What my issue here is that I saw it became such a big deal that it seems like I saw something about the government getting involved or something.
Oh,
there was a sponsor that dropped them, which in my opinion was fine. Obviously, you can't say certain shit. They do represent their sponsors, right? But it's a shit storm. This is crazy.
Really?
Well, what I'm hearing is that it became a shitstorm because content creators use that to create, to have content. So they picked up on this guy's podcast where they're talking shit, and then they make that into a big talking point because odds are, if they don't make a big deal about it, most people wouldn't have not known. It's not like it's going to be national news what they were talking about. They made it into national news.
Yeah, I really have nothing to add to this conversation. I don't know. I don't really
We're
keep up.
throwing up in Mex.
I do. I got a lot to add on this conversation.
Go for
it. Primero y antes que nada. Güey, didn't say anything out of fucking line that isn't said about any other profession. All right? Güey, no mames, ¿qué? ¿Les duele el culo de que les digan, güey, perdiste 10-0? Si esto hubiera sido el juego de hombres, hubieran corrido a todos, desde director deportivo a entrenador,
there would have been
a
memes.
jugadores. All right? También, ¿sabes qué fue lo que les dijo? No, güey, para andar desperdiciando, ni desperdiciando, güey, para andar arrastrando el legado de Cruz Azul y todo lo que ha hecho la institución para llegar a donde están, no se merecen estar donde están. ¿Sabes qué? Mejor que se vayan a hacer teiboleras, ¿verdad? Porque jugadores de fútbol no son. Para perder a un puto 10-0, no mames, güey, ni metiste la mano. ¿Sabes qué fue lo que te hicieron? Te metieron las putas manos. All right? Entonces, no seas pendeja, mija. También, la otra cosa es, si vas a andar llorando de que no merecemos el mismo pago, que merecemos la misma representación y quién sabe qué, pues ¿sabes qué, pendeja? Aguántate y ponle los pechos a las pinches balas cuando vales verga. Y esto es justamente lo que hiciste. Entonces, por favor, señor, no me vengas a decir que it was very misogynistic. Welcome to Mexico. Tenemos femicidio.
But look at the hate Raul got when he was injured. It was worse. People just wanted him to retire. It was more fucked up, in my opinion. And I think with these kind of like I don't listen to those type of podcasts, but I mean there's people that do, and I'm along with Abdias. I don't agree with what they say, but at the same time, to me, it shouldn't have been made into such a big deal. It would have blown over, like, you know. Instead, they brought that negative attention on themselves.
But like Abdias said, you mentioned feminicidio, right? Well, that's kind of like the point. They can sue for like gender-based violence, which is, I don't, I'm not, I don't know about if that's an act, like if they can. How do I say?
They said that.
They can sue. That's the whole thing, that the players can sue for gender-based violence. Like that's why it's such a big deal. I don't know the laws in Mexico, but that like it's. I don't know, man.
My thing is,
they're
like,
trying, bro.
we, before every single Liga MX game, they always have like holding hands with kids, and then they have somebody speak into the microphone and say, they have like that statement that they say before every game, like play clean, don't be racist, no violence. And then what ends up happening, you hear all these chants on the sidelines, you hear the puto chant, like all that shit goes flushing down the toilet as soon as the ball kicks off. And that's on the men's side, bro. And it's just like, if they were really about this and want to have like a clean game and no racism and no violence, then you would do a better job of reinforcing those values in the stands, bro. I mean, we almost saw, fans die the Querétaro Atlas game, and that's been fucking covered up. And we don't like to talk about that, but that was a nasty day in Liga MX.
I was gonna say no, they did die, but I mean, Jaime, there was a couple years ago. A few years ago now. There's this player named Scarlett Cambreros, and she plays for America now. But like 3-4 years ago, she was playing for America, and there was a dude that was kind of like stalking her, like social media, was like accosting her and shit like that. So much so that she ended up leaving the club, and she came. I think she went to Los Angeles. I think she was playing here for a little bit, and then she came back because I'm pretty sure he ended up going to jail. But what I'm saying is that doesn't really happen to like male football players, for example. So it is.
It does.
One of your players got shot in the head. What are you talking about?
No, but that was at the club, bro. We're talking about.
He got shot in the head.
We're talking about a woman.
And he had to retire from football. Yes, what are you talking about?
Yes, but like, who's been stalked? Has anybody been stalked?
But they're not going to say it. Like, a girl's stalking you and she's hot. Are you going to go complain to the media? Chances are they end up in the hotel room and then they just,
What if she's a no-go?
Did you see how they bombarded Hormiga today because they thought, he's leaving? Like, dude, like, I don't understand this, dude. It's like,
it's different when your life can be in danger.
No, but it does happen to players. I'm sorry, yes, I'll just really quick. But have you seen some of them get accused of stuff? And to me, they put themselves in that situation, because you go to a party or whatever, and then you end up hooking up with a girl and you were both drunk or whatever. So that to me is like, if you're in sports, that's one of the sacrifices you make because you don't want to end up throwing your career over.
Aaron Ramsey lost his dog. They I don't know, kidnapped it or took it away. That ended up costing him leaving Pumas, and Saint Maxime claimed that his kids were being bullied in school. Like, guys get the same abuse or not, or worse, like it happens on both sides of the ball.
They get the shit end of the stick. Now, really quickly, just to point out how shit Liga MX is. When Aaron Ramsey's dog disappeared, do you know what Pumas did the next match day in the stadium? They held a bring your puppy to the stadium fucking match. They had people in like I don't want to say furry outfits, but you know people fuck inside those botargas, right? So they had these like puppies and they had the players take pictures with dogs y toda esta madre de que no mames, güey. Pinche tone deaf league. And just to hammer the point of a tone deaf league, cuando ahorita la liga femenil está mandando comunicados, que la Secretaría de la Mujer está diciendo de que no, esta es violencia basada en género, que quién sabe que no, pendeja, esta es violencia basada en tus resultados en el campo. All right? Si no puedes entender eso, entonces sabes que esa pinche Secretaría de la Mujer no vale verga. Sácamela de aquí. Segundo, lo que está diciendo Sombrerito tiene 100% la razón, güey, porque cuando ese caso estaba pasando, ¿sabes qué hizo el Club América? Ni madres. No soportó a la jugadora como se debería. ¿Sabes qué hizo la liga? También ni madres. Se quedaron calladitas. Entonces, ahora, hoy, de que pueden agarrar clics, de que no, la guerra social en contra de las mujeres y todo esto, un montón de pendejas del 8M, es lo que está pasando. Porque neta, güey, lo que pasó aquí, ¿sabes por ese 10-0 pasó casi hace 2 semanas, güey? All right, pero ¿sabes qué? Nadie dijo nada. Se quedaron calladitos. Hasta cuando la pendeja de Fernanda Pons vino, o Maffer Pons vino, y de que no, que están violenteando a mi equipo y que quién sabe qué. Pues ¿sabes por qué, pendeja? Porque tu equipo está valiendo verga. ¿Y sabes por qué está valiendo verga? Por ti. Porque tú eres la directora deportiva de Cruz Azul Femenil y estás valiendo verga en tu trabajo. Tienes a gente ahí que no debe de estar en el cargo, como el director médico que tiene Cruz Azul Femenil. ¿Sabes qué? Ese pendejo ni es, he's not a trainer, no tiene conocimiento médico, pero está ahí porque lo conoces, ¿verdad? Vamos a ser honestos, Cruz Azul venía en buen paso, Cruz Azul Femenil venía en buen paso antes de que tú llegaras. Llegó ella, ¿y qué fue lo primero que hizo? Sacó a un entrenador que no tan solamente te llevó lo más lejos que habías llegado en liguilla, también anotó los más puntos en la historia de Cruz Azul Femenil en un solo pinche torneo. Pero a mediados de tu mandato, ¿qué fue lo que pasó? No, decidimos terminar el proyecto por razones mutuas, ¿verdad? Mientras que los chismes dicen que fue porque los dos no se podían poner de acuerdo de cómo es que iba a funcionar Cruz Azul Femenil, porque tú llegaste y dijiste, no, por mis pinches ovarios se hace lo que yo quiero. Y bueno, lo destituiste. Luego, un chingo de las jugadoras, más de mitad del plantel, lo reemplazas. Dejas ir a experiencia y traes, ok, medio calidad, ¿verdad? Jugadoras de alto nivel, jugadores jóvenes y todo, jóvenes y todo ese pedo. Pero, ¿qué es lo que pasa? Ganas, ¿qué fueron? Ganas un partido, está bueno, te meten la verga 10-0 y luego corres a tu nuevo director técnico. Entonces ahora Cruz Azul no tiene equipo. Traen a un interim y vuelven a ganar. Pero todo esto no se hizo un pedo, ¿sabes por qué? Porque Maffer estaba de vacaciones. Estaba tan ocupada o tan relajada que le valió verga que su equipo perdió 10-0 y no dijo ni madres. ¿Y sabes qué es lo más importante, güey? Que después de todo esto, aún así, no están hablando ni están reconociendo el pinche 10-0, que es la peor goliza de la historia de la institución Cruz Azul, ambos varonil y femenil.
For now.
So, yes, are you basically insinuating that this is being used as an excuse to, kind of overlook that result?
100%. Because why the fuck are you hashing something up from 2 weeks ago, especially at the rate that, let's be honest, not just sporting news, not just Liga MX, but the way the news cycle works. 2 fucking weeks ago is a lifetime ago. Güey, neta, a mí se me había olvidado ese pinche 10-0. ¿Por qué? Porque como dicen ahí mismo, güey, en Conversaciones del Mal, nadie ve la puta liga femenil. Porque vamos a ser honestos, güey. Si has tenido la desfortuna de ver un partido de liga femenil, primero, güey, perdón, te pido disculpas, entiendo de que los culitos pueden estar medio buenos y
some of
todo.
them are entertaining, dude. Some of the games are entertaining.
Yeah, I watch sometimes. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
There was the Chivas America games are good, dude.
Okay. Porque los únicos equipos que están invirtiendo en el juego femenil
son
América,
los equipos grandes y Cruz Azul vale madre.
Chivas.
Exactly.
No, güey, Cruz Azul está invirtiendo, pero pues ya sabes, güey, una pendeja viene y lo caga todo.
¿Han ganado?
Pero todavía no. Pero como dije, América, Chivas, Rayadas. Esos son los 3 equipos grandes que invierten de a madre. Y también puedes decir las Amazonas, ¿verdad? Tigres femenil. Esos son los 4 equipos que año tras año son los que están en la final. Pero si tratas de ver un Pachuca Cruz Azul, tratas de ver un Toluca Juárez, no mames, güey, es de chíngame la pupila. No quieres ver el puto partido. Aparte de eso, no tan solamente yo en casa que no quiero ver el partido, la gente ahí no quiere ir a ver los putos partidos, güey. Los inmuebles están vacíos. Los estadios están vacíos, güey. Cuando hacen la toma, ves de que hay muy, muy poca gente. Suficiente de que ni creo que están haciendo suficiente dinero para prender las putas luces. Por eso es que la mayoría de los equipos no juegan en el estadio. Juegan en los campos de entrenamiento.
Did you see America's Femenil's new stadium? It's one of the training grounds. They just put some bleachers on that bit.
That's the same thing that Cruz Azul did, way. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch La Femenil. Now, if Ron was here, whole different story. We'd be able to hear like how it is that Femenil works y todo eso. Porque if y'all remember, a couple months ago, wait, La Femenil is his bread and butter. Like
yeah, he
that's
cried.
his
He
number
cried
one.
when he won, but me too.
And I get it, way. Like if your institution is doing well and doing these things, pues güey, súbete al barco.
Dude, I've never celebrated Chivas Femenil, and we were on a tear at one point.
Stop it, bro! Didn't you guys? Weren't you guys the first team that won? Like both teams won at the same time, right?
I don't know, dude. I
think
I know they've been good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not discounting what Femenil has done. They've done a really good job. They had some great players, but I've never come onto this pod and said, "Oh, we're the champions" and stuff, dude. It's just not something that we don't cover that league. So for me, it's just like it's nice. It's nice to see that the whole organization is taking it serious. You look at Chivas, the U17, the U20, they're all doing really, really well, and Tapatio as well. But it's like, at the end of the day, bro, it's just varonil, bro. It's, that's all I care about, dude.
Hold on. So are you telling me que Chivas juega a otras cosas mientras ciertos equipos celebran sus títulos? Chivas tiene victorias morales?
Like I said, I don't bring that onto the pod. I'm not over here celebrating, oh, we're the under 17 champ. No, dude, it's good to see that, they're doing the things right at a young age. But as we've seen time and time again, the problem is that handoff from the under 17, the under 20 to the first team. And unfortunately, it's taken a serious injury from Cotoro for Camberos to finally get minutes. And it's like, is that what it took for Melito to take him serious? It's like, come on, man. So I don't know, dude. We spent too much time talking about Liga Femenil is all I'm saying. Moving on, man. Move on to another topic.
Look, last thing that I'm going to say about this is que al gobierno le importa más, o más que nada al gobierno mexicano, le importa más lo que dices en un podcast, lo que dices en una conversación privada en tu teléfono, o lo que estás diciendo en un tweet, que lo que está pasando en el día a día en las vidas cotidianas de la gente. ¿Verdad? Y eso mismo es una pinche mamada.
Yes, that's very true. And I ain't gonna lie, I came in here prepared to put my cape on. But Jaime, what you said was very it did something to me, because you're right. It's very hypocritical to focus on this when there's a lot of other examples where they could make a social justice or some sort of like movement out of it, right? I was thinking, I'm like, man, I have Cuauhtemoc Blanco as my Avi right now, and it's like them, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a legend, but like, is he somebody that we should hold in high regard? Is he somebody that should be in these programs and the media and randomly at Liga MX events? Maybe not. Maybe he shouldn't be a representative.
Yeah, that's why, all this outrage and cry on Twitter, that's just what is it, virtue signaling, because
Yeah.
I know that all these like white knights defending Liga Femenil, like why are they now just talking about it? You don't see them tweet about it, consistently or any other time. It's just when there's an injustice, they feel like, oh, this is my time to shine and make myself look good in front of these females. Like, bro, we really know what's going on behind closed doors and what you're saying. So, just stop with this fucking fake shit, dude. I don't, it's just like, stand on business, bro. Like, I know what you're saying out in the public is not what you really believe. So, I mean, and they've already exposed Rodolfo Landeros for saying some shit and finding old tweets that he said. So it's like, hey, bro, like, we know that you're not about this life, so stop it.
Exactly. Like, wait, Rodo was and is a real one. All right? Because lo que dijo fue, si te quieres echar un buen tajo de ojo, mira la Liga Femenil. ¿Por qué?
Yeah,
Porque no estás ganando nada deportivo de ver esa pinche liga. Y ahora, para todos esos putos white knights y social warriors y quién sabe qué, a ver, cabrón, dime el 11 inicial de tu institución. No de la mía, güey. De la tuya. Dime, ¿quién es tu 11 inicial femenil? Te apuesto que ni me puedes decir 5 jugadoras. Tanto así es cuanto te importa esta puta liga. No mames, güey. Me la arrastro por los huevos antes de verla.
Hold on. Hey, Ron just joined. I want to hear his opinion.
We'll see if we can get him patched in. Let's see if we can get an invite to speak. And also, if you're listening, feel free to request to speak. We did get some comments on YouTube. Mexican players always fall off once they go to MLS. The only one to maintain their level was Vela. This was in regards to Chucky Lozano finagling his way out of San Diego and into the hands of LA Galaxy.
Yeah, there's been very few that have succeeded, and a lot of them have been duds. Luis Hernandez he sucked. Hermosillo didn't really do much. Campos did pretty good. He played the final, the very first MLS final. They lost to, I think, DC United. He did well. Campos did well. Who else can we think of? He was at Chivas. Salcedo. He did decent and came back to Mexico and then left to Europe. It's a mixed bag. But I think if the players were to take it serious, they could benefit. They could benefit from the league, especially young players. And we're seeing something now where it's like more pochos coming into Liga MX. I'm getting echoes. I don't know which one of you guys.
It's probably Ron.
What's wrong with this Temu speakers? But yeah, I've said it before, and I was getting shit. And this was a few years back, where because I mean Salcedo's the prime example of that. He wasn't getting playing time at Tigres. He goes to Real Salt Lake, and then Chivas brings him back because he had been at Chivas a youth, and he had his clause to go to Europe, and he ended up doing everything. And we're kind of seeing this now, where it's we're seeing more pochos coming in from MLS into Liga MX. I expected the opposite, but it feels like it might go that way. So I do feel like some of these players, if they're not getting that playing time, and you could get it at MLS, go ahead, man. And one thing we've seen, it's it's a pretty good also springboard if you want to go to Europe. Might be Copenhagen or some mid-table team, but you'll go to Europe.
So hey guys, just logged in. So what did you guys want my opinion on, or what?
Liga Femenil. Los
Jesus.
Águilas.
That's all you had to say, Ron. That's all you had to say.
Little Pat wants to know.
Nah, I don't. Come on, dude. I don't want
Ron,
that shit.
you didn't see you didn't see the fiasco with the Cruz Azul Femenil in a podcast?
I saw a little bit of it. I mean, obviously, you have to be careful what you say. I mean, like I said, I mean, I remember a couple years back we had I forget who the poster was, or who was it? Holy. We were talking about Liga Femenil to see if it was really gonna.
He came in here from Univision.
Yeah, or Telemundo. I don't remember who it was. But anyhow, long story short is, I mean, for me personally, I'm not a fan of it. I think it's a very slow game for me. I don't think the quality's there. You know, I remember when that whole fiasco with the U.S. soccer women's and the men's, and they were talking about the equal pay and all that type of stuff. I remember that one of the arguments that the previous legal firm, was making a case for, which it enraged, the woke brigade, was that they were making an argument. The previous legal, firm was that the men's and women's game was a completely different game, to which I have to agree. And I mean, I don't see it as a really viable, league. I don't think it could stand on its own 2 feet. I mean, the WNBA, they've been subsidized for how long now? 30 years, 20 years? And I personally don't see, I mean, I don't see Liga MX Femenil, walking on their own, standing on their own. It seems like they're always going to be, needing the men's league to be on their own, to truly be on their own. And I don't see that happening. But again, it's not that I'm against it. I just personally, like I said, I mean, there's a lot of leagues that I don't really like to watch. I mean, for example, I don't really like watching the German league. I mean, obviously, I know they're a great, great league. It's just the tactics, and I'm not a big fan of it. But going back to the question about the guys, I've never even heard of those guys. What's the name of their pod? The guys from Cruz Azul, or the guys that said something. What was it?
Something Máquina.
Something. So, as I've told you guys many times, and I know Joel has too. I mean, you have to be careful what you say, because it could affect, your bottom line. It could affect your credentials and stuff. I mean, there's ways of saying things.
I think they were going to get banned from the stadium.
I mean, there's ways of getting your point across without being stupid. And let that be a lesson. I mean, that's one thing that I've seen, I mean, I've seen people lose their credentials, like in the World Cup. When I was in Germany, I saw it. When I was in South Africa, I saw it. So it's stupid. They could have made their point a different way without being that insulting, That's my take on it.
It's Pláticas del Mal.
Pláticas.
So it's in their name, dude. They're gonna talk shit.
Now, I think
I-
one of the guys said something about, I think, like the government or a government agencies trying to get involved in that. That's where I don't agree with. You know,
Yeah, they're
I could,
making them into an example, and I do think it got blown overboard, and they're using that to make, to
I,
push an agenda.
I can
As it
understand.
happens.
I can understand Cruz Azul, Liga MX, taking action. They're more than entitled to. But in terms of the government or any sort of agency from the government, freedom of speech. They.
Yeah, well, that's why it became an even bigger deal, and people have been criticizing the government because they stay quiet in bigger issues.
Yeah, true on that.
So they're saying the players can sue for gender-based violence against this
Nah,
podcast. What do you think about that?
it's not
Unless
violence.
they were calling for it, like, were you really calling for? Were they saying go beat up the women?
Nah,
You should go and
No,
nah.
güey, lo más culero que dijeron fue pasar tiempo trabajando en una fonda no les caería mal a ninguna de ellas.
For
yeah,
however,
see,
a corporation or any organization, they can take matters into their own hand because if they have bylaws and they have rules of what you can and can't say and stuff like that, whether we like it or not, it's they make the rules. But in terms of the government overreaching, nah, I don't agree with that.
yeah, the wrong person listened to them, and they just,
I mean,
they're
because,
using them to making it to push an agenda.
because,
I mean,
at
I'm
that,
not saying I agree with what they said, but at the same time, it's stuff like that. If you're gonna say don't feed the trolls, like stuff like that. If you don't give it attention, it just goes away, and within a week, no one's gonna remember that any of that was said. But it became national news now, where they put it everywhere, and for me, it's not so much what they said, like Avia said, is not like horrific stuff. Um, but yeah, it's getting blown out of proportion.
yeah.
Güey, porque es el mismo pedo de la Reimers, ¿verdad? Everything has to be gender based. No es de que vales verga tu trabajo, güey. It's because you have a vagina. No, pendeja. It's because you're a fucking horrible narrator. That's why people don't like you. It's because you turn everything into a fucking social cause. That's why people don't want to listen to you. Like, there's a thin line between giving people information and being un pinche dolor de huevos. Entonces, entiende la diferencia y entiende por qué es que la gente no te quiere escuchar.
I think the women shouldn't even have said anything. Because, like, I don't know if did you guys any of you guys watch the Mourinho Netflix doc?
No, but that's on the docket.
So they brought up again. They mentioned up the incident. Remember with that Portuguese or doctor lady, Dr. Eva, I forget her name, Corneto or something like that. So, but they brought up that incident again, right? And Mourinho in the documentary said that, hey, I treat, I don't care if it's a woman or a man, I treat all the doctors the same. And in the documentary, you actually see that where Mourinho is basically just lambasting both the male doctor and the female doctor, and he gave to each. I mean, he reamed into them.
Oh yeah, he ripped them a new one.
Exactly. So I mean, he did that both to the male and he did that to the female, but in this particular case, only the female made a big fuss about it, and like it was some sort of gender discrimination. On the contrary, he fucking treated both of them the same. And that's one of the things that, like, I remember back, I think it was in 2003 when they had that first female ref in Liga MX, Virginia Tovar or whatever. One of the things is, like, they were calling for, like, hey, gender equality and stuff like that. But the first time you had a fucking, one of the guys fucking just, start bitching and reaming into her, oh my God, these guys are being aggressive, it's like, come on, it's a lady and stuff like that. And it's like, it's not like anybody was ever trying to protect, Eduardo Bricio or Chiqui Dracula or whatever. no one says anything about it when these guys are getting fucking assaulted and physically and verbally, assaulted by the players and the fans. So, if you're going to play that game, you're basically doing more harm than good to the cause, because then nobody's going to want to walk on eggshells if there's a female ref, or if there's especially with the female players, because the male players, they get shit on every day by press, by fans, by the entire system, and they have to take it. So that's my take. That's my take, and I have to agree with Diaz on this one. It's, you're basically being a pussy.
Yeah, to add to the Mourinho doc, Ron, he said that there was an agreement with the medical staff and the players that, hey, like, unless he's got like a broken leg or he's dying, like, do not go on the pitch, because then that player has to be removed from the field, and then we're down a man. And in that particular game, they were already down a man to a red card. So now they were down to 9 for like a minute, and that is what, got him to go full tilt. And they basically disobeyed like his rule, which is like, hey, don't jump onto the field unless I tell you guys to, because now we're going to be down and we're going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah. No, I get it. So
it's not like he was, picking on her on purpose. It's just like he gave it to everybody. And yeah, I think, let's be honest, man, women are a lot more emotional sometimes than men, and they take shit serious. And, you can't obviously treat a girl the way you treat a guy. Like, some of the shit that flies in, with men, it won't fly with women. It's just, they're different. They're wired differently.
Yeah. And like I said, there's a lot of the critiques about that is that, nobody wants to walk on eggshells and be afraid of, something that they're going to say they're going to get canceled and stuff. And that's why I say that. I mean, if you're going to treat somebody the same, you treat them the same, and that's the good, bad, and the ugly.
I have noticed with, Katia being in the league, they definitely treat her differently than when it's a male ref, because when it's a male ref and there's a controversial call, the guys will basically try to, like, be super aggressive and talk back. But when it's her, like, they kind of are a little bit more respectful. So I've noticed the change in the league in that way.
And I don't agree with that. and I don't. I really don't. If you're gonna play in a man's game, well, it is what it is.
Let me go over some results real quick, and then we'll jump back into the chat. So we had Atlante and Toluca kick things off on Saturday. I think both teams were just fatigued from the travel. The game ended 0-0. However, Juarez and Monterrey won 6-1. It could have been even more. It felt like Juarez left all on the line in League's Cup, and it was not enough. They failed to qualify to the next round. And yeah, they got their shit pushed in by Rayados. Diego Rossi scored, Orbelín Pineda scored, Ocampo scored, Orellano scored. It was a goal fest over there in Monterrey. And cuidado con este Monterrey, coached by none other than Matias Almeida. Atlas took care of business over Tigres. That was a surprising result. A lot of drama in the late goings. Atlas scored in the 81st minute and almost immediately gave away a PK, but their goalkeeper stepped up to the plate and had an incredible save. And he, I believe, is leading the league in PKs denied. So Camilo Vargas is been a lifesaver for Atlas over there. I did not catch the Pumas Querétaro game. That game ended 0-0. America got a favorable result against San Luis, 3-0. I don't know if my Americanistas were able to watch that game, but I know that a kid scored, right? A youngin scored in that game.
I only saw bits and pieces of the game. I'll be brutally honest with you, Jaime. I haven't really watched a lot of soccer since the World Cup. I've been traveling mostly. So
Same same
that?
run.
Yeah, Diego
I've done the
Arriaga.
same.
He's
Yeah.
he's a young player.
Yeah, like I spent the last week up in upstate New York in Cooperstown, and then just traveling other places. But I haven't really watched much. I've only watched Amit play twice this season. Interesting games and stuff. And I know that they've been playing the Leagues Cup. I don't watch the Leagues Cup on principle, but I did want to ask you guys because I know you guys watch it. I've been reading on Twitter. It seems like there's discontent now with like the Liga MX clubs with MLS and the scheduling. Correct? If I'm reading correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, does this have to do? Does it seem like there's going to be like a breakup between MLS and obviously Liga MX? Do you see this going on?
I don't know if it's a breakup, but there's more of like they just had a contract. I don't know how many tournaments that they have to do, and there probably won't be a follow-up.
Yeah, it's a good
Martinez
question.
didn't want, because Martinez kind of hinted at something when he was in Fútbol Picante and Jesus Martinez, and he talked about how they weren't getting much money off of it, but that they were betting on the long-term payout. And I'm not so sure what exactly because he was pretty vague about it.
That comment is actually from last season's last season's thing. But I'm just wondering because like I've just been seeing through Twitter, different like articles and headlines about the Liga MX owners being discontent, and which to me seemed a little odd. And I'm wondering if what's going on with Televisa and then CONCACAF and the Netflix to see if there's some sort of friction. Have you guys read any of those articles?
Well, Ron, I think there's definitely some discontent because and to be honest, it kind of feels like they're making up the rules as they go. Because for example, America was supposed to be the home team, and
Right.
instead of having the game at the Azteca, they ended up getting a neutral field for the next round. So it's a little confusing.
Why did they do that? Did they do that at the last minute?
Yeah, because they didn't know. So they didn't. First of all, they didn't know what day. They just kind of had like a 2-3 day range of when the game would happen, but they didn't know. They never said where. They just said, okay, America's the local. And I personally saw a lot of the press thinking that the game was going to be in the Azteca, and then essentially last second they were like, okay, it's going to be a neutral stadium, which is weird.
También, really quickly, it's not just America who's being perjudicado por esto. También Toluca. They did the same thing at Toluca. So, son mamadas, güey.
Yeah, Turco was upset about some. I did read about that. So, I personally, I didn't watch last season's, League Cup because, like I said, I'm anti-molero, that type of stuff. I just think it's a shit, I think it's a shit concept. I mean, that's why we have the Conca champions. But I think it's going to be interesting how this is going to play out, and obviously with the whole, because the one thing that I have been keeping up with is basically the Televisa, FFF, CONCACAF, Netflix, fiasco that's going on. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to play out.
Well, it's unfortunate. You're missing out on football champagne. We come out with siete canteranos, one of them being a Brazilian kid, and we're getting the results.
No, I'm going to start watching Liga MX again. I mean, I'm back. I mean, I'm not going to be traveling anytime soon, so I'll get back into the mix of watching the league. At least try to watch at least 2-3 games. Each match day. It's just the Leagues Cup that I'm not paying attention to that much. And obviously I'm, just keeping up tabs with, Rafa and the national team. And I see that they scheduled, some matches, upcoming matches in the next couple of months. So that's going to be interesting. Anybody catch the Azcárraga interview?
I was hoping you had seen it because I haven't had the chance to listen in, but he had a lot of things to say, and Ficusson has been basically just regurgitating all that on Twitter. So I haven't really kept up.
I started watching the interview. I'm not finished with it, but interesting stuff. And the thing that basically, talking about the philosophy or of Club America, it's not, for me, it's not new, but it's one of the things that he's reiterated is that they're Club America basically wants to they don't want to spend a lot of money. They want to basically go for the canteranos, go for the youth and stuff like that. And personally, I think that's the right way to go. I don't think the whole bombazo stuff, I don't think that's really doable. Not because they're broke or not because they're not making money. It's just I just think that's kind of like something like in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s marketing, going for that bombazo type.
Yeah, they haven't done it in years, and they've been more successful, more consistent than when they did go after those big names.
Exactly. I mean, for me, the secret sauce has always been the Ajax in the Barcelona model. Not saying that you have to do it exactly like them, but something very similar, where you want to invest heavily in the youth academies, and obviously just plug in the players that you need. And that's one thing. Like, for example, there was a carne asada interview that Carlos Reynoso did, and he had El Negrito Santos, he had Cuauhtémoc Blanco, he had Germán Villa, and then they're just all talking about Club America. And Reynoso said it himself. The secret has always been America with strong Mexican players and just filling in the gaps with the foreigners. And I personally, I think that's how they need to go about it is develop the canteranos and just get good solid players.
Well, I want to know, do you guys consider a Quiñones, a Diego Valdez bombazos or no?
No, I don't. Remember, Quiñones came to, America wasn't the first team that he was in. I mean, he I forget, what was it, Acapulco or Merida? I forget where he went to at first, right? So technically they weren't bombazos. I mean, when I think bombazos, I'm thinking
Bam Bam.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Bam Bam Zamorano. I'm
Yeah.
thinking Piojo Lopez.
Piojo,
Right?
yeah.
I'm thinking those type of players where they could still be playing at a top club in Europe.
And that they're like key players in their national team.
Exactly. And that's what I think. But then, like, for example, you had, I wouldn't consider Cabañas a bombazo because remember, he was a journeyman in Chiapas, right? And then he developed and became a phenomenal player. And then obviously America was able to get him.
Yeah, Bombazo's basically a household name. Like, in Cabañas, basically, he wasn't that known until he
was a journeyman.
Yeah,
it's like Buoso, right? He was at Santos, and then you guys bought him. Same thing with Peralta. He formed his best year somewhere else, and then you guys bought him. But I remember.
I would rather have that than basically poaching and going to Europe and stuff like that. I would rather have, because, like, for example, when you think about it, when like America, got Cabañas, when they got, for example, Reynaldo Navia, when they got those type of players, it's like they were already established and they were good players in Liga MX. They knew the league, and it's like you're hedging your bets. So I mean, for me, that's the type of player that I would go after, and obviously develop the younger players. Because there was a period where America was actually developing, really good players at the youth, and they were actually going to Europe and stuff. But unfortunately, they got rid of Tena, and then things got a little shaky. But it seems like they're starting to get their act together again.
It's gonna be an interesting project for Almada, right? He comes from Pachuca, and he was a miracle worker there, working with the youth, and it seems like that's gonna be the same theme here at America. Like I mentioned. A lot of unfamiliar faces in that lineup, and players that got subbed in, and players with like triple digits on their jersey. That's something that I'm used to at Chivas, but not necessarily something I'm used to at America. So interesting how the tables have turned. And
that's the price of success, though, Jaime.
For me,
when you were winning for that long, when Jaime was winning for that long consistently, it was just a matter of time before players ended up going to Europe or ended up going to other other leagues, or I mean, losing Diego Valdez, losing what's his name, shit. I mean, I think the only guys that are left, Sendejas and Martin.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, I think those are the only last two players of the tricampeonato.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think everybody's gone, and I said, I mean, that's to be expected. That's the same thing happened to what's his Piojo. He lost Diego Lainez. He lost Matias Uribe. He lost Guido Rodriguez. I mean, there was like 5 key players that he lost after the title in 2018. So, but there's something that Azcárraga said, was that when you're playing with America, you're 20 years old, and you're basically those players are exposed to that sort of pressure and stuff like that. That could be a good thing, but you can also lose them.
Yeah,
because and I think that's the balance of the youth directors, that they need to basically make sure that there's a balance where you're able to get those players and get them ready, but without losing them to either the fame or just bad habits.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it firsthand at Chivas. We were at a very, very dark point in our franchise, and I mean, I remember the Carlos Fierro. Like, if you look at his career, he was one of the very few players that won the World Cup under 17 and had immediate impact on the first team. And at that time, Chivas were really struggling to even stay in the first division. So he played week in and week out, and I think we put a lot of pressure on him, and also Cubo Torres. Chicharito left, and Cubo came in the league, started scoring immediately, and we started to praise him as the next Chicharo, and I think the pressure just got to him, and it's like, bro, like, these kids are literally making their debut. Like, they should not have. Yes, there is pressure to play for a team as big as Chivas, but you shouldn't have the responsibility of like carrying the whole team at a teenager level. You should still have some veterans on the team that can take that burden off your plate. But at that time, we were just very, very desperate.
In that Azcárraga interview, he also mentioned the fact that he wants promotion and relegation, and he says that he thinks it's basically essential so that teams don't kind of get comfortable. And I wanted to know if you guys thought that was grandstanding on his part, or if maybe he really feels that way and maybe he just doesn't have the influence that he once had.
I think he said the truth. He said that he doesn't have a solution for it, because the financing both at the top and at the bottom is not there. It's going to be easier to get the financing at the top, but at the bottom, it's been hard, and it's been hard for more than 40 years. Let's not forget that, because I mean, how many times has the second division been rebranded? In 92, 93, they rebranded it to Primera A. They rebranded it again. But I've always said that one of the problems with the second division is that the networks, Televisa included, is that they've never been really able to sell the second division as a premier tournament. And part of that, there's external factors that the league cannot control. Okay, that's just a given. But then there's the perception, the optics of the second division being a league of just worthless rejects. Because I've heard comments, and I've heard the league being referred to as Liga del Infierno. Okay, I heard that like back in the 90s. I always heard that term, that it's La Liga del Infierno, La Liga de las Desgracias, and stuff like that. So when you hear that, and you're constantly hearing that, it's like, how do you sell that? I mean, at least the English, they were smart enough to call it the championship to give it some sort of value, give it some value.
You stole my point.
You know, it's
I was when you said how they rebranded, and I immediately thought about when the English became the Premier League,
yeah,
and like you said, it was in the name, Premier, and then the Championship. And I was thinking how for Premier League as well, one of the things they did was with the stadiums, they got rid of. They used to have those like standing section, those cheap seats, and they pretty much got rid of that, And I think that marketing part that you mentioned, I've never thought so much about that till you brought it up about what the league could do to market the second division to make it better, maybe even reduce the amount of teams or whatever they have to do. And even like with a cup, as you've said it before as well, having like what is it, like FA Cup where the lower divisions face each other, but so they get to face the first division teams. Just things like that where
they were. I was really happy when I first heard that they were going to get the Copa MX again. I was really happy, but then when I saw the format, I said this is not going to work long term, and I was hoping I'd be proven wrong, but no, because the thing with the Copa, it should have been where you basically have it kind of like what they do in the FA Cup, where it gradually goes. Like for example, the Premier League teams, they start the tournament in early January, right? In the second or third round, the third round proper, if I'm not mistaken. But before that, in the previous rounds, that's where you're seeing the Liga, the fourth division, or actually not the fourth. Well, no, you're seeing the regional teams, because with the FA Cup, the FA Cup is technically every league, every club that's associated with the FA, right? Because in England they have two cups. They have the Leagues Cup, and then they have the FA Cup. The Leagues Cup is basically all the professional teams in the pyramid from 1 to 4, from the first division, second, third, and fourth. So Liga MX should have done something similar to that, and then basically gradually get the Primera A, or I'm sorry, the Liga de Ascenso, and then obviously get into the first division, because they need. One of the reasons that you always have markets, like let's say Tampico, let's say Celaya, some of these markets where you could have Chivas, you could have Pumas, you could have Cruz Azul, you could have America. They go there, and then the home team. Why? Because their fans know that at least those teams are going to be there tomorrow. And you've had fans in those type of markets getting fucked over for years. An owner comes in, invests some money, stays around for a couple of years, and then next thing you know, they're out. And that's been a constant.
Or try moving the team.
Or yeah, they sell the franchise. So I understand why many fans are hesitant to support their local clubs, because they've been screwed over time and time again. And that's and rooting for America, rooting for Cruz Azul, rooting for Chivas, that's a sure bet. You know that you're going to see them next season. You know that you can root for them next season. And that's a shame.
I will say there are some well thought out projects in La Liga de Expansión. Obviously, Atlante is one of them, long-standing team in the first division. And so far this season, they've had a decent showing, especially with the fans. So there are a few, I guess, like hidden gems within that league. And it is a shame that they won't even consider just expanding the league to 20 teams or something, 22, for those clubs that are taking it serious and have the capacity and have the infrastructure to compete in the first division. Especially when you see teams that are just going out there like heartless week in and week out, the Querétaros of the world, the freaking Santos Laguna of the world, like just mismanaged clubs that should be punished for, sucking it up in the first division and putting shame to the league.
They did actually increase the amount of clubs back like 20 years ago. I think they went from 20 to 22, but then they went back to 20, and then they went back to 18.
Yeah.
And personally, I remember when they went to 20, I don't think Liga MX had the ability to really have 20 good, first division clubs.
Yeah.
And that's also one of the reasons why I've always thought that, as much as we'd like to keep it, football proper and have the pro rel, promotion relegation, I've always kind of thought that, what, might as well do the franchise model. If that means that you're going to have 30 markets, 25 markets that are going to invest heavily, might as well.
Yeah, that name Liga Descenso sucks. They need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, because when the promotion relegation for the longest time, it was only just a couple teams that were basically going up and down, up and down. León, it was León, Tigres, Pachuca. I mean, those were Irapuato. Those were the teams that were just constantly going up and down, up and in the last 25 years. That's who was going up and down, up and down. And it's not like you were seeing other markets like Tampico, being consistent, or even Veracruz. They weren't really being consistent. I mean, how many times have they even bought and changed franchises now? It's ridiculous. I mean, in three cases that I remember, you had Veracruz, you had Chiapas, and I don't remember the last one. You had these teams that were owned, or that they were technically they were owned by their states, and even then they couldn't manage these clubs, and get them solvent and get them into the first division. It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. Trying to see what else I had on the docket today. The only other player with transfer rumors is Edson El Machín Alvarez. It looks like Real Sociedad is interested in his services, so we'll be monitoring that closely and see if that deal goes through. I'd much rather have him playing in La Liga than in the championship over there in England, especially because he left on loan at West Ham, so it really did feel like he was no longer in the plans of at that time David Moyes. I don't know if he's still coaching them.
Did Ormiga get? I thought who said it in the chat that the wait is that you're doubtful that he's going to go, or is it a done deal that he's going to Greece?
Yeah. So the rumors started to pick up this weekend, and he was not played in the Santos game. Milito said, he's distracted. It's better for him not to play. And it really did feel like the deal was going to get wrapped up soon. But Chivas kept rejecting the advances. They can't negotiate on the terms. And I'm in sales, so time kills deals. I think eventually they will get the magic number.
Did Milito really say that?
Yeah, Milito, they asked about Ormiga and why he wasn't featured, and he's like, hey, man, like, with all this going around, his speculation around his transfer, it was better for me to just not play him.
Or was it because he threw a hissy fit?
No. It wasn't because of that. I think when you're a player that, it's clear that they're in negotiation and it might get wrapped up soon, it's better just not to play him. In case an injury happens or whatever. I'm sure the representative asked him not to get featured. I don't know, but in the end, he did not play against Santos.
Come on, man! It's not like he would have made a difference.
I think he would have taken the PK if he was still playing, and that would have helped boost his confidence. In the end, Ricardo Marin took it with stride and put it away, but. It's one of those things where you're in a goal drought, right? You haven't scored in so many games and it's starting to get to you. Having a PK would have been nice to break that streak.
I mean, are you so sure that he would have made that?
I think so.
We've seen him miss multiple times.
That's what I'm thinking, man. Because let's be honest, we went from Barusa's in town to watch him play. He's going directly to the big leagues. que quién sabe qué, all of that like fart sniffing. ¿Para qué? Para que se vaya a Grecia.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Jaime,
I don't
what
like
do
the
you call
move.
that league?
I call it a fisherman's league.
Ándale, güey, a
Well,
fisherman's league.
You
Ahí
weren't
es a
listening
donde
earlier.
van.
Like, I'm in full agreement. Like, I don't like the move. I think he should stay at Chivas, and I don't. It's a lateral move at best. They're not going to be competing in Champions League. For me, it's like just have another season at Chivas, score some goals, win some silverware, and then you'll get a much juicier offer. I don't understand the urgency or desire. Like, why? Why get rid of him now? There's no need.
Do you call it a fisherman's league because of Neri Castillo?
I call it a fisherman's league because that's just what it is, and it just happens to be that Neri Castillo, retired and became a bait and tackle
fisherman.
shop over there.
He owns a tackle shop. It's fucking great. Pero, güey, no mames, por favor, no me hagas reír, güey. Win silverware? With what team?
With the team that he's currently on, I mean, this is our best chance to win some silverware while he's still on the team.
Senor, I keep hearing this is our best chance for the past 3 years.
No, this one for real though, dude. I mean, we got Kevin Castañeda and Jordan Carrillo, which they've been already unhappy with his output.
Hey,
Era lo que
new
iba a decir,
agent
güey.
007.
El tarará, el agente 007.
He was up for grabs. I know you guys are salty because you didn't get. I know it was between America and Chivas, and we ended up swooping him. So
Good.
At the end of the
We don't
day,
need
combine that with Camberos and Santi Sandoval and Samir Inda, we have a very, very competitive squad. And to take away Hormiga from that, it's just bad timing. Bad timing.
Has Samir, has he debuted in
He debuted.
Primera División?
I remember because the photos of him and his mother were going viral after his debut.
Yeah, because he went up
Yeah.
and took off his shirt and was trying to hand it to her. And that's where like, hey, güey, ¿quién es la hermana? And the internet came in and was like, carnal, that's the mom.
Yeah, he already made his debut.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wait, have any of you ever considered being a stepdad? Porque neta, that one had me thinking about it at least a couple times.
I feel bad for Santi Sandoval, right? Because his dad obviously played for Chivas and America, and then he was basically a deadbeat to him, and he got cut up, found drugs in the trunk of his car, and that's his dad. And I think there was a similar incidents with one of the America Cantera players. Like his dad is in like legal issues and stuff. But they end up forming.
Dude is coming in America.
They end up forming a strong offspring, apparently.
Wait, quick question. Who do you think got more bullying? ¿Esos cabrones o Marcelo Flores?
Marcelo Flores, he just couldn't handle it, bro.
¿A quién le cargaron la mano más? De que, güey, tu papá ni te quiere y lo más que quería era cogerse una negra en MLS. O, güey, pásame el WhatsApp de tu hermana.
Nah, because everybody was trying to be his friend, like, hey, let me come over, fool, like, let's play PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get in there.
Te juego una cascarita en FIFA, güey. Pero,
Yeah, exactly. Come on. There's no bullying there. Hey, this is my best friend. You bully him, I'm gonna fight you.
Le preguntas, like, güey, pero ¿va a estar tu hermana o no? Porque, pues, medio me apeno y no quiero ir si está ahí. No, güey, no te
The rumors were
preocupes.
true. She was with the coach.
I don't believe that one.
Nah, bro, that did not. That's come on, man.
That's just like
That's
¿Sabes
next
qué,
Mex
güey?
football. Or
that's some like fan fantasy fiction.
¿Sabes qué, güey? If it was, hats off to you, Siboldi. Eres un pinche grande. Y no estoy hablando de verga nomás.
You know that didn't happen, bro. There's no way.
Look, wait, that one is on the same level as the La Volpe handjobs at Chivas.
Oh, that one did happen.
Yeah,
Did it, though?
I think that did happen, bro.
No,
Did it?
I don't know if it happened, but I know he suggested and made it uncomfortable.
Well, you know what I think happened?
Are you telling me
Because
that it's because of the implication?
I think he's just like old school. You know what I mean? I think he's like been around in Mexico so long that he kind of expects a happy ending. And
I think he just had a testicular torsion and he was asking them to work it out.
Well, I think the players. I think there was talk that a couple players were getting extra attention, so he probably felt it was like team. it's a team special. It was like a Groupon or something.
It's a
and
membership.
it's like, not you, old man. Yeah, and she's like, not you, old man. I mean, these kids are like, they're physically fit, prime, and just, fucking no dust. And she's like,
I
I
mean,
could just see him with a cigarette in hand going, Che, boluda, ¿qué haces? Truéname un huevo.
he's from that same generation of like Tuca Ferretti. I just feel like there's no, they're just stuck in their ways, bro. They're from that old generation. I'm sure
I wonder if
Tuca did some shit that was not HR appropriate.
I don't think he could talk about it because he went to court and everything. Could have ruined his career. So I don't think maybe when he's like really older, he's still in it.
I think it basically did ruin his career. Well, I guess not anymore.
No, he kept coaching. No, he kept coaching. He did TV gigs. He didn't exactly get like canceled.
He was at America, but I still feel what I say by that is that like I think his career definitely took a downfall.
I was mad.
That was all pre-Me Too.
We didn't get to enjoy La Volpe, so I was really upset when he got fired.
It was around that time. And I think Angelica played a role in that because she was heavily involved in that in the U.S. Like donating to those type of causes, and I think she used that as well to.
What type of?
I'm not saying that guy's completely in, like the Me Too and all of that stuff.
That was way before Me Too. Like,
no, man,
way before.
Check it. I mean, probably from when they blew up, but it was. She was all up in it, man. She was even donating to the Hillary Foundation.
Ricardo La Volpe coached Chivas in 2014.
I think Me Too was around. Yeah, I think it was around that. Maybe 2016-ish.
And it says he was fired by Vergara after a female staff member allegedly accused him of improper behavior, resulting in a lawsuit.
Look, I Googled it. It started in 2006, the movement. But it didn't really blow up to 2017. That's when it like blew up. So he was like in that,
He was a
around
pioneer.
the same time. No, man, that was Angelica, man. Just crazy because she was doing that too.
She was doing some shit with
She did it to the players.
Was it Michel?
Yeah.
Luis Michel.
Yeah.
He went to they exiled him to Costa Rica and he ended up winning over there too. That dude was just winning everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation. With Hormiga leaving, I said this in the chat. I'm like, bro, we're gonna end up with fucking Memote. Knowing like how the universe is, how much I've shitted on Memote, I just know that's the fucking dumbass move that I could see happening. The other one that does excite me is Ali Avila from Querétaro. He might be another player on our radar to replace Hormiga.
Pero wait, espérate, antes que nada. Why are you upset about getting Memote? El Camote Power's coming in. Es mundialista, tiene más minutos que Hormiga, jugó en los octavos de final del Mundial. No mames, güey. He's a caliber player.
You need to work for the Chivas PR because that's literally how they're gonna sell it to us. They're gonna show all the highlights. They're gonna show all his highlights at the World Cup and all. I know, mames, way.
Doesn't Chivas still own Cowell.
They do.
It's just, we could just bring that dude back.
He's on loan to Red Bull. I'm sure we'll get him back.
Because he's not a center forward. He plays out by the wings.
Yeah, he's a winger. Yeah.
Hold on, really quick on this. I just saw that that striker you guys loaned out to that Colombian team. He played today in Libertadores.
Oh,
Aguayo?
man. Don't say that word, bro. Don't say that word. We'll have another hour discussion. But yeah, he
No, güey, ya se fue. Ya se fue, no tengas
He
miedo.
can't hurt you, bro.
he made his debut. He made his debut in Copa Libertadores today. Yep.
Hey, Jaime, is your boogeyman here in the room with us? Or qué pedo?
I don't know, man. You say the magic word and he'll come back and we'll be on here for another hour.
You know, well, I'll give you the cliff notes. We need to go back to Libertadores.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
But what I was gonna say was, también, güey, don't act like it's all doom and gloom. Remember, you have Ángel Sepúlveda, que según you fleeced us, y que quién sabe qué.
Fleeced us. I don't know about that one, Chief.
You have Sepu.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to arrive. Has he arrived yet? I'm waiting for that to happen.
I don't know, man. Last tournament, there was a lot of bravado about him.
I think, you know, we had this before. You know, he returned to Chivas and he didn't do anything back then and he hasn't done anything yet now. So 0 for 2 so far. It's not an easy job, man. I mean, we've been desperate for a striker for such a long time, and finally when we get one, we're selling them to Greece? Really?
For a good amount of money.
Cursed. Chivas is cursed with that. They have Vela. He doesn't even get to debut. Chicharo doesn't play much. Gets yanked away. Now they have Hormiga and played one season or two, depending how you look at it. And he's going to be gone. He still seems to be cursed in that department.
Could Chivas get another? Could they buy a player from Liga MX, or is that done?
That's a good question.
I don't know if the window closed. Yeah.
I mean, the international window's until September, so I don't know if that works with.
Because I know it used to be like you can only buy a player from Liga MX if they haven't played before, but the rules are kind of iffy. Because I was wondering, like, okay, like hypothetically, let's say he goes right, you sell him to Olympiacos. Do like how much would you be willing to spend for? I mean, the only one that's really available would be Querétaro's Avila. So, like hypothetically speaking.
I know that the rule is like you cannot play for more than 2 clubs a year, right? So I think he'd be all right. So
how much would you be willing to spend for him?
I don't know, bro. I don't manage the checkbook at Chivas. Whatever it takes.
But like what? Like how much? Like let's say they bought him for $8 million. Would you be like, fuck that? Like that's too much. You know what I'm saying? Or if it was like $4 million, you're like, yeah, that's a good deal. You know what I'm saying?
He's barely shown up on my radar. Like I know he's been at Querétaro, but I mean, I don't know. I can't speak to that. You know, I haven't really been following Querétaro that closely. I know that he's 22 years old. He scored 15 goals in 31 games. But you know, that's the thing. It's like that's all it takes for you to show up on some radar. Like it's our league doesn't produce that many strikers that all of a sudden you score, you know, more than 10 and you're considered like the next big thing.
The Chivas tax would apply though, so they would sell them for more than, especially the club knowing Chivas is desperate for a player, so they would bump it up a bit. But I think Chivas been like. Probably come back to MLS. Is there more pochos over here? That's what I was mentioning, Kyle. But I thought they could bring him back if he's on that loan. Yeah, I don't think they would get a player. I think they'll just go to their own cantera and pull from there.
We're gonna have Teo Wilke back. Oh God.
Oh yeah, where's he at?
I have no idea, bro. That guy is a fucking tronco. He's like Memote 2.0.
Pero también, güey, if push comes to shove, you can always raid Liga de Expansión. You can
Yeah.
find yourself a forward in there. That's the whole point of that league now, right? Because
They've-
Cruz Azul is now using it as a developmental league. Always has, always did.
Chivas did that with Marin, and they did
That's
that
what I
they
was
do
gonna
it.
say.
with
Well,
You
that's not
guys
the
did that
deal.
with him.
Yesgar.
Well, that's-
There was like this one guy that they did that experiment with, and it didn't work out.
But I mean, Chivas uses Tapatio, so that's their main. That's their main source.
I'm not gonna lie. I hope you guys don't get nobody else. I just want to see all the crying and shit. It gotta feel bad. Like your starting striker, like you have championship expectations, and then they just sell him. They sell him like late in the window.
Well,
And
yeah.
to Greece, way.
Well,
Not
they're not
just
selling
that,
it
to
'cause
a
they
team
want
that
to.
isn't even playing Conference League.
Nah, but it's a good amount. It's a good amount of money. You can't. Who cares where he? I mean, if you're looking at it from a national team lens, then yeah, like it's kind of like, come on. But it's a good amount of money. Once he goes, I mean, I'm sure Chivista fans, Chivistas are gonna be keeping track of him and seeing his progress. But nah, he's gonna leave a nice little lump sum. It's just it's getting late. The window is gonna close soon.
Now, really quickly, Sombrerito, you mentioned looking at it as from a national team view, right? Here's the problem: we haven't sold a single seleccionado all year, all like this whole transfer window. While South Africa has already offloaded what 3, 4?
Yes.
No
Oh, man,
mames,
you-
güey. The
you've been
Mexican
reading next
stock.
Mex.
And don't even bring
No,
in
no, no, it's
don't
not
even
even
bring
next
in the
Mex, it's
MLS
just
transfers.
It is.
It's just
keep right-
facts, way. Pero mira, and before you get too far, to use your own words and in the articles that you have shared before, it's el jugador mexicano le hace daño a su propio gremio. ¿Por qué? Porque mandamos jugadores que no valen verga and have lowered the stock of the Mexican player abroad.
No, that's not. I don't think that's it. I think it's very unfortunate, man. People just don't rate Mexicans, and you look at
What's
Edson.
that?
He goes to Turkey, and then his coach gets fired soon after. It's just many such cases happen to Diego Lainez. Although Diego Lainez, in my opinion, and Jolie, you spoke about this at the beginning of the episode, but Diego Lainez, it's a mentality thing. A lot of these players mentally are not there. They're not mature enough. They're not professional
Yeah.
enough to succeed. And that's unfortunate. If we were able to, it's just andan cómodos en Mexico, bro.
Bro, but
That's
a
all
lot
it
of
is.
Mexicans are like that. Like, wait, Ira, look at and I'm going to be honest, look at this California Mexicans, right? They like to complain about California this, California that, que quién sabe qué, but they refuse to leave. They want to stay in that little comfort zone. Porque no, güey, how am I going to get my tortillas? I'm disconnected from my culture, this and that. While others who have gone out and live like in the East Coast, live in the Midwest, live in different parts of the country where you don't have that community aspect of it, we look at life completely different. Vas, picas piedra, and you do what you have to do to succeed. That's the mentality that a lot of us have that don't live in these Hispanic pockets or like sanctuary cities and all of that. Porque, güey, me vas a decir que siendo jugador profesional de fútbol te quieres regresar a México porque extrañas las tortillas? No
Yeah.
mames, güey. Esas cosas así es lo que perjudica al gremio de jugadores profesionales de fútbol. Luego, tienes las indisciplinas y tienes el rendimiento de los mexicanos. No mames, güey. Everything compiles. Everything comes together.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends the player. So Salcido talked about when he got to Holland, when he got to Amsterdam. I think he was in the airport, and the player that was supposed to wait for him wasn't even there. and he said he was ready to board the next flight back to Mexico. You know,
That's
I was like,
crazy.
yeah, he said it in an interview, and I was like, yeah, I haven't even been there 2 hours, but it happens like same with Kike, you know, players will get homesick, and a lot of these were people that come from small towns. They were never that far from home or never traveled, so for them it's could be, you know, it might not seem like a big deal to some of us, but for them, yeah, the food and whatnot. And it does play an important role. He later talked about how I think it was a Peruano that the club like paired him up with, who then went to pick him up to the airport, and they were like roommates. And he said he would take him to like
I think it was
Latino places
Farfan, maybe.
yeah, I believe that's the guy. Said they would go to like Latino clubs and stuff like that, and as you get to speak Spanish and all that. So, and
Yeah, it
I
was
think
Jefferson.
some of these, I was falling asleep. I had even read like further back how with some of these clubs, like when they were doing with the Brazilian players, they would bring even two. Like their kid one, even if he sucked, they'll just bring him in, so he could have like the roommates. They could like, you know, get along and talk, and they're not just alone. So that, yeah. But I think because with Mexico, we see it more because it's not that many players that leave. It's very few that go to Europe, and that makes it seem like they suck. Because you know, with Argentina and Brazil, there's a bunch of those players that are gonna end up in, you know, these third tier leagues that went to Europe, didn't make it, and then they're playing in Honduras or they're playing in Vietnam or whatever. And that's kind of happened with Mex too, where our players ended up in New Zealand. But I mean, with these countries, they just export so many players that we don't really think about those guys that failed, and we get to see all the ones that actually did make it.
Yeah, I remember in
Yeah.
Zlatan, his bio, he talked about his experience of going from certain clubs and how he felt like the club that really had their shit together was AC Milan. When they were negotiating his transfer, they had already found him a house to live in. They had already taken care of like all the other things outside the pitch that, you know, a player has to go through, and it's very stressful having to move, relocate your family. Like they had someone that, you know, speaks their language in case they don't speak the language of that country. So like there are some organizations that really put thought into their players and invest in their players and make sure that they're super comfortable at their time there. And I just think Olympiacos is not going to do it's not going to do that.
I mean, they might, but it's a big step. Hormiga's gonna go from being, you know, one of the most beloved Mexican players. Hell, I mean, we saw him at the World Cup, and everybody loves him, right? And now he's gonna go and be unknown in a country that's far away. They speak a whole different language. You got to be wired different to really succeed in that. So we're gonna see. Hopefully, you know, hopefully he kills it. But
Yeah.
we're gonna fucking see.
Wait, what are you talking about? He's already wired different. Es el puto otaku del gol, güey. He doesn't go out. He stays home. Se la jala viendo hentai. Like, you know he's not going to be going out to do this madre.
Well, yeah, but he's probably an iPad kid. He's probably been with his family his whole life. Like, this is gonna be different. Will his family go with him? Maybe, maybe not.
Good.
Maybe. Sometimes they don't go.
Well,
Hey, yo,
Sometimes the
speaking of his
family don't want to
family,
move.
his
You know,
inflatable girlfriend for sure is going.
mira, güey, he's taking the inflatable one, the pillow one, and the little miniature figurine one that he has on his desk. Like, las tres van a ir con él. Pero más que nada, güey, hablando de la familia. Wait, have y'all seen his sister?
No.
I could call him cuñado.
Really? Oh,
Really,
okay.
bro? Have you not seen his sister?
I didn't even know he had a sister.
Whew. Wait. You know what? Go in and look it up. You'll thank me later.
We're at the 2-hour mark. So let's give everyone their chance to put their closing thoughts, and then we can put a bow tie on this.
All right, let me go first. So Ron mentioned how for him a successful team looks like Ajax and Barcelona, which is a team that focuses on the youth system. For me, I look at it more like Bayern. I think America is most successful when they buy the best players from all the other teams, like Bayern does in their domestic league. And I do see a player like Quiñones as a bombazo. I do see a player like Chucho Benitez when they bought him from Santos. May he rest in peace. I do see that as a bombazo. So I guess maybe we view bombazos differently, but I think that's just how an America this I think that's how America is successful, which is
Bombazo makes a lot of noise because getting those players was always within that realm. But landing a Ronaldinho when Querétaro gets a Ronaldinho, that's a bombazo. When would you have thought that Ronaldinho was going to end up at Querétaro?
But it was
Same with
also
Bam Bam.
Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho had been like, yeah, he had been around already.
He'd been pretty much done.
But still, man. I don't know about done. I never saw his games.
Yeah, but it's the Mexican league,
balling,
bro.
man.
I mean, he was.
Ni era titular en la final.
He was still a bombazo, though.
All right, hold on. That one was because of personal issues. I know it's closing thoughts, and we shouldn't be jumping in.
Fuck my closing thoughts.
Pero the whole argument about he wasn't even a starter in the final, that was because of disagreements between him and the coach.
I agree. I do agree, but come on, he wasn't Ronaldinho anymore. Yeah, he still had his flair, but he wasn't that player.
Yeah, but you would not think that a team like Querétaro would land him. That's what makes him the bombazo. It's like same with Zamorano, because top teams in Europe still wanted him.
Dude,
top teams in Europe still wanted Piojo.
Maradona coached in the second division of Mexico, so I mean, anything's possible.
But which Maradona though, man? Come on.
That's what I'm saying. Which Ronaldinho? It's the same thing.
The Ronaldinho took Querétaro to the final.
It's like right now. If we got Memphis Depay to join the league, which I would love that move. It's like, well, which Memphis Depay are we getting? It's been the one that's been around the block already.
All right. Forget Ronaldinho. Zamorano was straight up bombazo. Even Piojo, those are two big names, and to that extent, where they're known in not many countries, not just in one. That's also part of it, So yeah.
So let's say
they're
America.
Big important signings, but I wouldn't call it a bombazo.
Okay, so let's say America. So Paulinho to Toluca was a bombazo.
Was it?
Well, I'm asking.
No. He has a person to be very well known,
dude,
and attached to a big club.
The sad thing is, like, they don't even rate him. Portugal doesn't even rate him. Like, when they played over here, Mexico. I was texting my Portuguese friend. He's like, "Yeah, you guys can keep him. We don't really fuck with him." He only went because Ronaldo didn't go.
Gignac Bombasso, he was still in the French national. He still got called up.
That was probably like the last one. Yeah.
You think he was a Bombasso? I think Paulinho is much more known than Gignac was at the time.
No,
Gignac was in the French national team.
Barely.
He played the final of the Euro Cup.
Okay, but where was Benzema at? Where was Giroud?
Well, don't matter. He still played.
It does matter. What happened to them? Why did he play?
There's other big teams that wanted him. He came to Tigres. It's still Bombasso.
He left.
How often have you had a French national team?
He left Marseille like in his prime, dude. It's not like he left when he was. He was still like a viable option in Europe. He was playing.
Yeah.
He was going to the Euros. Like it was a huge
I understand
move.
that, but like
Tigres, he played the Euro Cup with France. I mean, it's not easy to
for sure. But think about that signing.
Hold on.
Think about that signing. When he signed to Tigres, were you guys like, holy fuck, this is like
yes.
Everyone was.
There's no fucking
nah. Dude,
you guys, we did not know who the fucking Yak was.
I knew who he was.
You know what?
I had been following him for a while, dude.
I have a friend in Buenos Aires, and when they played the Libertadores final, this dude told me that's the first time he legit thought they were going to lose. And he knew who Gignac was. And he said he was surprised that Tigres played so conservative. He said with someone like Gignac, they thought that, that he was going to spread their cheeks. I think...
That's Duca's fault. That's his fault.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, there's something in another country recognizing a player. So that's kind of the bombazo where someone like as good as he was, the Paraguayo,
Cabañas?
got shot in the head. Cabañas, he was really good. I mean, those are really good signings, and how many goals he was scoring. But he wasn't that known outside of Liga MX, and even like in the countries outside of then they get to play. But
So in
other
your
people weren't
opinion,
rating him.
in your opinion, bombazos are well-known players that are out of the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at Zamorano, known in Spain.
That you're able to lure away from, big clubs. Yeah.
So then the league overall doesn't have too many bombazos.
Well, they haven't had. They just.
It's been a while.
Like the Saudi league started taking a lot of those players. Because Gignac is like the last one. Before that, I remember Cruz Azul brought Roque Santa Cruz. He was injured, so he didn't really do shit, but he was still like a bombazo, he was a very well-known player.
Tigres again were able to lure a World Cup winner, Florin Taubin. It didn't work out, but that was a pretty big one.
Oh, and the RG they brought. The one that
Angel
just
Correa.
returned back to... Yeah, that World Cup winner. It's the World Cup winner, bro.
I remember when Chile won all those Copa Americas, they were able to get, was it Edu Vargas, the striker? He played for Tigres as well. So yeah. Anyways, bro, this is closing thoughts, man.
Hold on.
Let Patrick speak. Damn.
Was Maximin a bombazo?
No, that was a fucking tronco, bro.
No. We're talking. We're talking about
no. That was a bombazo. That was a bombazo.
Was it?
Yeah.
No.
I know that Chivas doesn't play the bombazo game. Neither could they afford to try to play that game.
Chicharo.
But wait, you have to. Chichabuelo was your bombazo. No mames, güey.
I think us getting Castañeda is a pretty big. I'm not a bombazo, but that's a big signing. He was doing great at Cholos.
That motherfucker don't even play.
That's how stacked we are right now, dude.
Wait, bringing back Luca Romero, that was a bombazo. Porque los pendejos de Chivas thought they had him locked in. Pero ¿sabes qué habla? El billete, papá.
Yeah, el billete, and we were able to steal Piojo. Thank you for that one.
That's because we felt bad because we just took Chiquete off you too.
Okay, last question about the bombazos, because I'm very interested, because I've always considered a bombazo just like a very good player. Sometimes it's like like the Diego Valdez and the Quiñones.
You know why? Because a lot of the media has cheapened these words.
They'll call them that.
They started using that like golazo. Almost any goal, they'll say a golazo. Super líder. Just real quick, Super Liderato was back when the league was divided into 4 groups. And each group obviously had a leader. And then out of the leaders, the team with the most points was the super leader. Now they'll call any team that's in the top super leader, even if you have a 2-point lead. Doesn't make sense. How are you super leader next week? It could be someone else. So they use these words and then they just cheapen them, where it's sort of like, I've seen it a lot now in X, where almost every news is breaking or bombazo or whatever news that they put it to make it seem like it's way more important. I forgot one site used this for a rumor. And I was like, what? So, these words, they start losing value.
Okay, so you guys remember the other Frenchman that America got? He used to play at AC Milan, also flamed out, he was hella injured back in 2018, 2017.
Oh,
what the fuck was his name, man?
not the World Cup winner, right?
He might have been a World Cup winner.
You forgot. I mean, he wasn't.
I
that
just said it
important.
earlier. Tauvin.
No, that was just that was a long time ago.
No, Tauvin was a Tigres player.
Yeah, I'm talking America signed the
Oh, Jeremy.
dude. Yeah, Menez. Yeah. Was he a bombazo?
No,
Are you sure?
because he came in from already like going down like he was at Milan, but it's not like he went from Milan to America. He was, I think, in the Greek league by then. Like he was already.
And that's
He was
and that's
already
my
on a
point about
slumper.
Maximin. I mean, I think he was playing in Turkey
Yeah,
or
same
Saudi
thing.
Arabia or something
Yeah.
like that.
He was already
Qatar,
on his
so-
way down, and Liga MX was there to catch his fall.
Hadn't Mourinho called him a fat fuck? Just like
Wait,
a tournament ago?
Tauvin? No, it's the Maxime.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was that.
Called him
guy-
a fat fuck, told him that he had a shitty work effort. Like there was all of these things that were said
What
the
was
moment that he arrived.
the Luke De Jong? I think that was a bombazo, no?
Well, he never played in Mexico.
No, wait. There was one Dutchman that played for Rayados. What was his name?
Oh yeah. Fuck. What's his name?
I thought it was De Jong. I could be wrong. He was Dutch though. I remember he was.
Yeah,
Dutch.
I know who you're talking about. No, the Jong, he sonaba para el América, but he never came, and then he ended up playing at Barcelona and stuff like that. But because he was at PSV.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I
guess-
don't remember.
Huh.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
but
just
okay.
hallucinating. But yeah, there was. Could have sworn we had one.
No,
The
there
Madrid
was.
player,
It was like De Jong, but I don't remember his first name. Wait, he did play with Rayados. He did a fairly good job, but he didn't stick around. You know how Rayados is. They like to rotate their European squad.
Mm-hmm.
What's the defender? I forget his name. See, we're forgetting name of Bombazos. The Real
Sergio
Madrid
Ramos?
guy. There you go.
Yeah, Ramos.
Yeah, he was kind of retired, but
Nah,
still.
that was.
No, wait, no. But puta madre, wait. Closing thoughts are gonna go long as fuck again.
Vincent
Pero wait,
Johnson. Vincent Johnson.
there you go. Ahora, lo de Sergio Ramos, wait, no mames. Sergio Ramos came to fucking play
He did.
in Liga MX.
Yeah.
All right. He brought that fucking world-class intensity, everything that you want from a player who you had discarded when they were signing him, when they were like, nomás lo están trayendo por el nombre. Nomás lo están trayendo para las ventas de camisas. ¿Y sabes qué, güey? No. El señor vino a jugar, metía garra, partía madres, was doing all of those things. If anything, watching him tear fucking Liga MX and show him what real intensity is about was a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and using that as an example, Navas to Pumas. I know he lost some stock because he went to Argentina where he wasn't like rated, but he's been very good for Pumas.
He's been okay.
Yeah, he's been
played
alright. And America retired Sergio Ramos, so there's that.
You know what? I just want to point this out. Navas metió gol cuando Memote no pudo. That's it.
Dude, that did happen. All right, anyways, closing thoughts. That's my philosophy. We do need to work on the cantera, and I think they're doing a good job at it. Definitely, it's looking just based on the results, and obviously it's early. It's really hard to take some of these results serious because with Leagues Cup, some teams are resting their players. You look at Chivas, maybe they're not in Leagues Cup anymore, but they're rotating. You know, they have players that are coming. They played the World Cup, so it feels like a lot of teams right now are just kind of, you know, going through the motions, kind of maybe still seeing who's going to be a starter, who's going to be a sub and whatnot. So you can't really take these results serious. But it's kind of looking like America's Cantera is better than we expected. So that's definitely cool to see. I still think we need at least 2 signings, and that's with Sendejas coming back. And, you know, if he comes back in form, Malagon is looking like he'll be back sooner than we expected as well. He just played this weekend with the sub-21. But at least I hope we get three signings, and then I think this season could go a little bit better than we expected. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And to that, I leave y'all. Peace.
All righty. Who's next?
I'll go next. I did Diaz brought something up about how South Africa has sent like 4 players to Europe and Mexico has 0. And I saw an account on X saying, doing the comparison. And last week they compared it to the U.S. as well. And I think for Mexico's never really sent many players abroad, even after World Cups. You have to take my word for it. You could go and check, and you'll see that very rarely do you see many players leaving. 06 was when there was that exodus, and for me, a lot of it wasn't just because of the World Cup. It was more how the team had been playing throughout that proceso, and the different tournaments, how they had looked. And that to me was like the bigger window at why these guys left. So but I think, just for fans, not that doesn't mean that something is bad, It's just overall, a lot of times, even the players don't want to go. So it's not always that the teams are like holding them back. Sometimes for the players, it's just not attractive to go, especially to the smaller leagues, or to earn way less money. This is their career, and it's a short window you're going to have. So you have to make as much money as you can for when you retire. So for a lot of these guys, that's not, it's not worth it for them. But yeah, I would say like overall, Mexico, they never really exported. Even the U.S. back before MLS, look at the squad of the '94, the U.S. '94 squad. MLS didn't start till '96, and NASL had been dead for probably 10 years or more. They had more players in Europe, and these guys were leaving from college, and they had more players in Europe than Mexico. So, but this is the whole thing. Mexico's never been dependent on having Euro players, and I said this a lot of times. If you look at Mexico's big achievements, it's all been Liga MX based players. Olympic gold, that was huge. I think, and it kind of a little bit odd how a lot of like Mexican fans won't rate that. And Brazil couldn't win it. And Mexico beats Brazil, and Brazil was they had Neymar. They were gunning for that, and they kept Brazil from winning that. And this is Brazil that had been able to win everything. They couldn't win the Olympic gold until I think they hosted the Olympics after that one, and then they won like 2 in a row. But they had not been able to win it. And so for Mexico winning it was huge, and it was with Mexican-based players. And, same with Confederaciones. And even now, being ranked 10th in the world, I guess people forgot already. So I don't put too much stock in the players leaving to Europe. I think it will happen later on because there's a lot of good youth players coming out. So I do think in a couple of years, we'll see more and more players. There's a few right now, maybe not as much as people would like. But I don't. To me, it's not something that I'm going to lose sleep over. That's my 2 closely with pesos.
All right, Joel, thank you for joining us. Diaz, take us home.
Pues bueno, caballeros, esta noche yo tengo el honor de decir los últimos closing thoughts. And for that, I say thank you. The first thing on my plate is, güey, lo que ya hablamos, the fake virtue signaling from the Mexican government. Neta, güey, neta. Eso es lo que me rompe los putos huevos, ¿verdad? Un gobierno que prefiere hacer listas de los tuiteros que dijeron that perpetuate the message, but they don't tell you what message it is. Cuando la misma presidenta dijo, no, este gobierno no hace listas. El hacer listas es de un gobierno nazi, de un gobierno autoritario, que quién sabe que la 4T no es de eso. Pero no, cuando empiezan a enseñarles sus incongruencias, todas las cosas que no ha hecho bien por el país, hacen la lista. Luego, quieren que registres tu línea de teléfono. ¿Por qué? Porque si no, te la van a cancelar. Porque quieren saber de quién y a quién le estás hablando, quién está hablando de qué y todo eso. Cuando esos son las preocupaciones más grandes que tiene un gobierno, es cuando sabes que ya la cagó. Cuando un gobierno se está involucrando con las pendejadas que se dicen en un podcast de mamones, porque esto no es NPR, esto no es nada de esto, güey. El puto programa se llama Conversaciones del Mal, ¿ok? Son los mismos cabrones que en la final de la liga pasada tenían a tenían a Santi con el otro güey amarrado con una cadena de perro y lo hicieron comer comida de perro de un plato. No mames, güey, ya sabes con quién estás hablando, con cabrones que se pasan más de 20 minutos en un programa hablando de cómo es que les gusta jalársela. Güey, no mames, ¿por qué puta se está involucrando el gobierno con cosas así? ¿Que no sabes que hay problemas más grandes en el país? Pero no, vamos a tapar el sol con un dedo, ¿verdad? Vamos a decir de que no, que esto es violencia de género y que quién sabe que no, pendejos. Esto es fútbol y así es como se habla en las cantinas, en las esquinas, en las canchas, por todos lados. Estas son las cosas que decimos, ¿verdad? Pero no, si tienen miedo de la crítica, entonces deja de jugar fútbol, güey. Mejor vete a hacer una teibolera, vete a una fonda, vete a algo diferente que no esté en el ojo público. ¿Por qué? Porque si te dedicas a algo que está en los medios, que es de todo esto, güey, te van a venir a putear. Así es el trato. Así es el trato con la audiencia. De que, ¿sabes qué? Si la cago, si hice algo mal, putéenme. ¿Verdad? Pero bueno, eso es eso. Y neta, güey, eso es lo que me ha calentado los huevos más, aún más que lo que pasó con la máquina. Porque lo de Cruz Azul, güey, como ya dije, es campeonitis, es temprano en el torneo. Ahorita, güey, ni me preocupa. Lo que más me preocupa es que todos los jugadores se recuperen en buen ritmo y estemos listos para la segunda mitad de la liga, ¿verdad? Y ni estoy hablando de la liguilla, de la liga en sí misma, ¿verdad? Porque una vez que se calienta la máquina, una vez que las cosas empiezan a correr bien, ya no hay por qué preocuparse. Ahora, la cosa que sí es, güey, ¿dónde están los putos refuerzos que pide Wiki? Porque hasta aún no ha llegado ningún solo puto refuerzo, no se ha oído ningún movimiento, que quién sabe qué, y ahora la conversación de la venta del Lira ya no se oye ni madres. Entonces, ¿qué putas está pasando con el plantel? Porque, güey, si nos la vamos a rifar y nos vamos a jugar con el plantel como está, no hay pedo porque hay buen plantel. Pero digan qué es el plan. Si es como acaban de decir los americanistas aquí, de que, hey, vamos a trabajar con la cantera, no hay pedo, güey, vamos a trabajar con la cantera. Nomás díganme qué es lo que se tiene que hacer y dónde es donde tengo que poner mis expectaciones. Pero últimamente, la última cosa que quiero decir es que por fin, gracias a Dios, regresa la Fórmula 1. ¿Ok? Este fin de semana vamos a tener el Dutch Grand Prix, el de Heineken, y yo sé que muchos de ustedes a lo mejor no siguen esta competencia, esta liga, ¿verdad? Pero neta, güey, ha estado interesante. Ahorita estamos al punto medio, acabamos de regresar de las vacaciones del verano, y así es como quedan las cosas. En primer lugar, tienes a Kimi Antonelli, un pinche chavito de 19 años que está, neta, güey, está aparentando para ganar toda la cosa. En segundo lugar, tenemos a Lewis Hamilton, que por fin pudo tener que Ferrari le hiciera un carro que funciona, primero antes que nada, para su estilo de conducir y que está ganando podios. Tercero, tienes a Russell, que pues neta, güey, ese güey no me cae bien, pero maneja para Mercedes. En cuarto lugar, tienes al otro Ferrari, tienes a Charles Leclerc. Luego, tienes a Lando Norris, quien maneja por... Ay, güey, espérame. Quien maneja por McLaren. Y en el sexto lugar, tienes a Verstappen, que es el de Red Bull. Esos son los que están más reñidos. Luego tienes a Oscar Piastri en el 7 con McLaren también, y Eder Hajar en el octavo con otro Red Bull. Eso significa que la carrera de constructores está con Mercedes en primer lugar, Ferrari en segundo, McLaren en tercero y Red Bull en cuarto. ¿Ok? Entonces, está interesante la cosa y va a empezar otra vez este fin de semana. Entonces, si quieren un descansito de mucho fútbol, que quién sabe qué, güey, échense la Fórmula 1. Está con madre. Y con eso les digo, hasta la próxima.
Thank you, Abdias. I root for Hamilton and Ferrari, and he's winning on and off the field with the girl that he's with currently.
Hold on. Which girl?
Oh, you know her. Everybody knows her. Everyone's seen the
No.
the
He traded her in.
Oh,
He traded her in for a
traded her-
21-year-old.
He traded her in. That's hilarious. Well, he was tapping that, so. Yeah, closing thoughts for me. Not happy with Hormiga Gonzalez, his departure to Chivas, if it ends up happening this transfer window. I'm not happy with it. You know, if it was a bigger club, I would respect the move. If you're going to Bundesliga or Spain, France even. But going to the Greek league, lateral move at best. And this is in the time of need. You know, you're walking away without winning any silverware for Chivas. If you were really about that life, you would help us win something before your departure. But sometimes, you know, he doesn't have control over these things. They put a price on his head, and, you know, Chivas will allow him to leave for the right price. If he ends up leaving between now and our next episode, then, you know, I wish him the best. I know he's got the right mindset. He's got the right attitude, but he does wear his heart on his sleeve, and that also has a tendency to work against your favor. And I don't know if whoever ends up coaching him will understand where he's coming from. He's also socially awkward. He doesn't know the language. So there's a lot going against him, but if he ends up leaving, I wish all the best for him. We have a massive, massive hole to fill in that striker position if he leaves, and I am curious to see who will step up. I'm also saddened that it took an injury for Camberos to get some minutes under Milito, but sometimes that's the way it happens. That's the way it goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing against Gilberto Moura on Saturday, killing the league. He's really good. I'm sure they'll wait until he's 18 for an official transfer, but that price tag keeps going up and up, and he is a jewel to watch in this league, and I'm very looking forward to that match on Saturday. Now that League's Cup is not over, but at least this initial phase is over, we're back to our regularly scheduled Liga MX. Tigres and Atlante will kick things off on Friday. Then León Monterrey, Juárez América, Querétaro Toluca. Those are all happening on Friday. And then on Saturday, Chivas Tijuana, Puebla Santos, Cruz Azul Atlas. And then on Sunday, San Luis Pachuca and Pumas Necaxa. I don't know why they torture us on Sunday when there's still plenty of things to look forward to, you know, before you get the Sunday scaries. I don't know why they put these fucking sleeper matches on Sunday. I was really enjoying seeing Pumas play on Sunday noon, how they used to back in the day. And, you know, I was thinking if there was any a shakeup that I would like to see in Liga MX, I miss the days of Chivas playing at 10 a.m. on Sunday. I really enjoyed that. And I haven't seen Chivas play on Sundays anymore unless they're on the road. So, you know, Saturdays are cool, but Sundays are also nice to have some quality matches. That being said, please, we appreciate everyone's support and following us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. You can actually leave comments on our Spotify page. So please feel free to show us some love there, some feedback. We really appreciate everyone's support, and we will catch you on the next one. Good night.